On the top left side of the grand finals of Home Story Cup, Clem in the bottom right. Oh, he's going to be very upset. He got cross map Fear and Faith in map 1. This is not where you want to spawn on this 4-player map. You want one of the side spawns. I think horizontal might be best, or maybe vertical, but you did not want cross map as a Terran in TVZ here. Now, to be fair, the Zergs, after their first 4 bases, have to stretch out to very far away 5th bases all the way out here, right? That's pretty tough for them. But for Terran, how do you ever get past your 4 bases? I do not know. I mean, it is absolutely so hard to cross the middle of this map. Lots of big wide open areas where Zerg Army's going to love to engage. And of course, it's also the patch where a lot of people have said Zerg is super powerful, super broken. That being said, this week we had a hotfix nerfed Zerg Lava, but at the same time, it also nerfed the Reaper build time. I think a Reaper build here would suck. I think Command Center First is the best build on this map. I think this is also the best spawn, best map for a battle mech style. Because you can sit on 4 bases with battle mech for a very long time, have some good mobile harassment. It can be a little hard to directly push across the map, but I think battle mech and non-Reaper openings are the best way to optimize for the bigger 4-player maps personally. You can also do like a barracks with a few Marines, try to snipe Overlords, but I don't think a Reaper especially. Remember, Reapers got nerfed by 2 seconds on their build time. And it's a 4-player map. I think a Reaper is going to be a near worthless investment, but Clem's going to go for it. I think the reason this costs a lot more than on the 12-worker start is notice he's at only 11 or 10 workers mining. He is speed mining there. He's doing some shift clicks to boost, but you do give up a lot more mineral mining to get that early Reaper out. Also, his gas is mistimed, so his Reaper's not going to be able to start straight away. So a slightly mistimed build order here for Clem to start the finals up against the Hatch gas pool of SERRAL. And this looks like it was a... Guys, that was... Whoa, what is this? Build order for SERRAL. Oh, it's a pool first. Okay. I was like, how is his pool already finished? I thought he went hatchery first. I was like, that is such a fast spawning pool. But of course, it is because he went 16 spawning pool before hatchery, which is a very safe opening and quite solid as well. Probably the most one-size-fits-all opening right now against Terran and Zerg, even though against Protoss people do prefer hatch first. So I will have to do a new opening guide soon talking about that, but my eyes just on how this goes. I mean, the fact that Clem's even in the finals, I think surprises some people. He's such a gifted player, he's such a freak, but a lot of Terrans have been saying this matchup specifically feels very awkward on the new patch. I'm not too sure about TVP. I haven't seen too much TVP, but we'll see how both players play it out. SERRAL, of course, is a wizard. A player who's fought here from the lower bracket, by the way. He lost to Raynor in the upper bracket, so he's had to fight his way. Clem has not lost a series yet. There will be a bracket reset. If Clem wins this series, it's over. If SERRAL wins, he'll knock Clem to the lower bracket, and he'll have to win another best of 3 to win the entire tournament. All right, apologies, guys. Just had to turn off that Brazilian Dynasty logo. We were casting some Age of Empires before. This is not the Brazilian Dynasty. This is Home Story Cup. But what can I say? I'm a professional, and I'm not restarting the commentary because we're already 3 minutes into the game. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. This here is a professional one-man show. That is what it is. All right, Reaper's dancing around. Third command center goes up. So it's a very early third command center. Remember, if you want to go third command center and go for either a starport or a second barracks, your factory cannot produce Hellions early. You do not have enough minerals to do everything at once. Clem prioritizing his income. And that Reaper, of course, just going to keep SERRAL pinned on 2 bases for a little bit. Now, SERRAL does go lair. No second gas just yet. There we go. Second and third gas goes down. So this looks like a 2-base muta setup. I do think 2-base muta is so good on the new patch. And I've been waiting to see an intelligent Zerg actually play it in a pro tournament. And well, we've got the proest of matches, the hardest opponent, and the most intelligent Zerg in the world, SERRAL. So we'll see what he does. He's thinking about a Baneling Nest, but he changes his mind. He decides third base first. But that will be blocked by the Reaper. No, it won't. Clem, a little slow to react there. Didn't spot it in time. 2 Hellions are coming forward, so it's just 2 Hellions, 1 Reaper into a 2-1-1. This is Clem's old favorite build, the 3cc 2-1-1. So 3 commands and is very economic into 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. He'll get 16 Marines, 2 medevacs, and stim upgrade all lined up. And that's going to be amazing against early mutas because Marines can shoot up. Very mobile, you can push, you can force the Zerg to make some more Zerglings and Banelings. Whereas if you let the Zerg just pin you in your base with their Mutalisks, you're going to end up falling behind in income. The Zerg's going to cover the map in creep spread. It's going to be a nightmare. So I think SERRAL, he's feeling good about his economy and his tech, but he will have to walk a little bit of a tightrope to probably defend the double medevac of Marines that'll, I guess, be probably moving out just as his Mutalisks are leaving the base. I mean, it could be kind of weird because if CLEM doesn't realize it's Mutalisks, obviously he could take big damage, but I mean, it's so obvious, right? You've seen a delayed third. You know SERRAL's on 2 base. Surely Mutalisks are on his mind. I've got to imagine this is a common build order on the new patch. Alien Reaper rotating around. I've not been following the new patch too closely this last week, guys, not gonna lie. Took a few days off, much needed break after the insane hours I've been streaming. But I've been spamming aggressive builds, lots of Zerg, 2 base mutas, early Hydra pushes against Protoss, really trying to do a lot of things off of that 2 base stack and punish people for kind of, a lot of people are still just default fast third base, fast fourth base, lots of workers. And I do feel like there's a lot of vulnerabilities for players leaving themselves wide open. If you are willing to just commit to that tech, get in there and really cause a lot of a disruption. Now, SERRAL, he's got 7 mutas out, 8 minutes, 6 minutes, and his third's still fully mining. His economy is sick. He's got mutas out and his third is mining. I mean, that's very powerful. And CLEM, he's going to go over there, tries to find the Overlord, but I think it gets to safety. Indeed, it does. Marines can't quite reach it. Overseer's on this side as well. I think he's waiting to contaminate either the factory or the starport, or maybe an engineering bay if he finds it. Engineering bays are behind. You need 125 to contaminate with the Overseer, which will freeze production temporarily on an enemy building. Mutalisks, not quite able to get the Widowmine before it burrows. But he can bring the Overseer to finish it off. Remember, Widowmines fire faster now, guys. I didn't mention that yet. That's one of the big changes in this last patch. So the Widowmines will fire faster now. I have not seen this in pro dynamic ZVT matches yet. It should make the Widowmines a little more brutal to deal with. A little bit harder to friendly fire yourself with them as well. Factory does get contaminated. Overseer tanks the first Widowmine shot. The Mutalisks target it while it is recharging. Linkbane timing attack coming in. Guys, SERRAL's going for an attack. He's committing to a big Linkbane attack. He's not got Evo chambers yet. Linkbane gathering together. 1-1 upgrades only halfway done. If he can hit before Clem's upgrades finish, get a big economy damage, it'll be huge. If he can get some Banes in the natural, Banes in the third mineral line, or if he can connect with these Marines. Here we go, Clem in the open. Oh, a huge misstep for Clem. A ton of Marines get caught on the corner between those bases. This is not the sort of play you expect from SERRAL. SERRAL is normally such a defensive player, such a macro god. But look at that. The Banelings are zoning him, and as long as he doesn't let those SCVs escape, this is a disaster for Clem. The SCV is trying to get back to the high ground. The Widowmine does fire very quickly, but he's just not got enough Marines. The massive Banelings roll in. Clem gets overwhelmed, and SERRAL with a decisive Game 1. All right, guys, going into Game 2. SERRAL in the bottom right side of the map. It's Rorschach, a dominant win in Game 1. And I'm so curious to see is Clem going to mix in, do you think, any 2-base aggressive builds? It does feel like the Zerg economy gets a little bit out of control, but very defensive opening in map 1. It was also a nightmare spawn. On this map, Terran can expand towards the opponent. Take your third here, fourth on this base maybe even, or even on this gold towards the bottom, and you can push through the watchtower towards Zerg on this bottom side. SERRAL, on the other hand, is going to want to expand in a straight line. He's going to want to go up north to this third, this fourth, and often you'll actually see Zergs take this fifth in the middle, top middle of the map, as their gold base, fifth base. So you kind of, as Terran pushes towards the Zerg, Zerg expands along the top away from the Terran, trying to put as much space between them as the Terran, between them and the Terran as possible. Now, interesting, this is 16 hatchery. I thought 15 hatchery was a little more efficient, but hello? SERRAL. Has he figured something out? Is he going to go 18 gas, 17 pool after that, I wonder? Because I think if you're going Omega greedy and doing 18 gas, 17 pool, 16 hatch might time out so that the spawning pool finishes with the 2 hatcheries. But I think this is incredibly dangerous if your opponent's cut workers to get an early Reaper. Now, it once again doesn't feel like Clem's going to have 50 gas for the barracks, and one has to question this build order for Clem. Guys, is Clem messing his build order up? What's going on here? I don't think I've had a single game where I wasn't able to start a Reaper when the barracks finished. Very odd. It seems like Clem cut a supply to get his barracks started, but didn't get his gas started early enough. Very odd. Gas is on the way. It was pool before gas still. You can see the pool still went down ahead of time. pool starting 31 seconds ago, about 137. So it looks like a standard 16 pool. This is really interesting because that Reaper does not feel early. Remember, Reapers are also delayed 2 seconds on this patch. I don't know. I really just dislike Reaper openings in general. On this patch, they don't feel amazing to me. This is very first impressions. I'm not here from a position of authority saying Clem's wrong for doing this opening, but to me, it feels like he's not even optimizing the Reaper timing because his barracks is delayed. Reaper build time's been nerfed, so the Reaper's later than ever. And it just feels a little bit awkward of a start for Clem, where I don't feel he's maybe leaning into the advantages the way he could, but I know a lot of Zergs were complaining, a lot of Protoss complaining, oh, Reaper gets there too early. I personally, if you guys watched my patch video, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, I was talking about how I actually don't think you needed to nerf Reaper or Adept build time. I could be wrong on that. Nothing's set in stone. I don't have any super firm opinions, but did feel a bit unnecessary. Reaper gets 1 Zergling. He does force 6lings out of SERRAL, which I guess is decent, but all of this does delay the command center a fair amount. And if you wanted to play 3 command centers anyway, it does feel like the Zergs are willing to just chill on 2 base, right? 2 workers on gas. No need to rush an early third. Just get your 2 bases up. And will SERRAL go for a lair when he hits 100 gas again, like that last game? I mean, it would be a little bit later than the last game, I think. But I still have a feeling he's very likely to do that. For now, though, non-stop drones, saturating these 2 bases as quickly as possible. And it's going to be, yet again, a 3cc 2-on-1. Clem's going to do the exact same build as the last game. So just a light Reaper harass into that, up against, once again, nice fast lair for SERRAL. SERRAL's got those 2 mineral lines up. You're going to see him take a 2nd and 3rd gas. This is the exact same build orders. Holy moly, guys. These are the best mechanical players in the world, and they do love, when they find something that works, to repeat it over and over again in the opening stage, especially on a new patch. And it feels like we're getting to see build order wars right now. Clem says 3cc 2-on-1, exact same build as pre-patch. SERRAL says, this is a new build. I'm going to play 2-base muta. Let's see which one wins out this time. On a smaller map, not as big. And Clem obviously not wanting to get those Marines caught on the corner moving out to the 3rd like on the last map. It's also just a much better 3rd to defend for Terran over here. So I think he's got more opportunities. But I do think the Reaper in the Hellion kind of hasn't really achieved anything. And I think there's room to be very greedy against this opening from SERRAL. But Link counter's going to come in. There's nothing at home to defend. That's unfortunate. He's got a few Marines on the ramp. I guess they could pull down. He's got to be quick on the SCVs, though. Already 1. That's 2 SCVs. Lovely snipes there for SERRAL. He goes for the 3rd. Greedy boy. And Clem with a quick enough reaction. Only loses 2 workers. Well played. Hellion's going to try and catch these Zerglings on the retreat. They will take out 1 or 2. SERRAL does not blink. Doesn't care about losing 1 or 2 lings. Oh, he sets up an ambush. Oh, Clem not watching. Massive ambush from the high ground. Clem getting too cocky. Just assuming that SERRAL was just being greedy here. Didn't have any other units. He just blind chases. He does grab 2 Zerglings before the Reaper goes down. That's very Clem-coded. Just identifying. He's like, this is going to die anyway. Quickly. Target those 2 Zerglings. Grabs the kills before falling. Spire's almost finished. Bane speed's almost halfway done. SERRAL gets that extra SCV for 2 lings. Well worth. Spire's almost there. 3rd barracks does come in now. I'd love to see... I wonder how 2-base play does against this. Because I wonder if you can make it hard for Zerg to drone their 3rd. If rather than playing the early 3rd command center, you play something more aggressive. You know, Clem, of course, has been playing for a long time where speed running to 3 bases is the best way to play. And he's made this build look amazing on 12 worker start. But I'm wondering if he's giving SERRAL a bit too much control over the map. And if now with the 8 worker start, the changed minerals... Is he not getting as much of a payoff for that 3rd command center compared to maybe getting forward on the map earlier? Now, he's going to get forward again. The mutas are almost here. He's got to be really careful to not overextend because the mutas can stop you from running away. They can shoot down the medevacs that normally are your insurance in a game like this. Turrets are going down, I'd say right on time. They're going to finish just after the mutalisks have popped out of these bases. And I think that's perfect, right? About 20 seconds before they're technically needed, I guess, but better safe than sorry. It's impossible to know the exact timing those mutas are coming. Carapace, +1, Burrow, and Flyer attack on the way. Clem's going to have to deal with Burrowed Banelings. SERRAL realizing map control is going to be there for Zerg, and that gives you a chance to burrow those Zergling or those Baneling traps all around the map. You could also put Zergling spotters just to see whenever the Terran moves out. Give you that early warning. Most Terrans aren't going to invest in a Raven. 4th and 5th barracks on the way. Clem with a few Marines in the main. I'd say he's very well established so far. Almost gets a Mutalisk. Not, oh, he did. He got one. Got one Mutalisk. Almost got two, actually. Now, SERRAL's fully droned his 3rd. After the previous game, where he played so aggressive, isn't this such an intelligent play for SERRAL, guys? Last game, at this point, massive Ling Bane with no upgrades was rolling in and killing him. This time, that's not happening. Now, Clem's building siege tanks. Siege tanks are countered by Mutalisk play. You want to play Widow Mines and then add a Thor or two against Mutas. So this is a very odd choice for Clem, and I think it's because he's worried about a big Ling Bane attack. This is a poke, though. This is not a real attack. But SERRAL's kind of making it feel the same as the previous game. Look how paranoid Clem is. He's really playing around Clem's expectations, and now that he's got Clem pushed back, 7 more workers on the way, he's going to rally to the top right side base. I'd love a macro hatch, maybe a 5th hatchery either here or, like I said, up on the gold base is the more common expansion path for Zerg. Would be great. SERRAL working his way forwards. He's keeping Terran pinned on that side. 1-1 upgrades will kick in for Terran just seconds before Carapace comes in. Armory's finished as well, so he's ready to go to that next step. Widow Mine production is now started, so yeah, it was 3 tanks for safety. Oh, Clem! Was that 2 more Mutalisks get caught? Really good cleanups, but even though SERRAL only has 4 queens, look at his creep. It's actually getting out reasonably far. Remember, creep spread has been slowed down a little bit on this patch, but it also means it recedes a little bit slower. Oh my gosh. Clem always zoning out this edge so well. SERRAL sees the Marines, turns around, but what is this? Oh, this is a tiny army in the middle of no man's land. I don't like this at all. This is a crazy attack, and oh! SERRAL grabs his whole army. Clem, caught on the map, loses a double drop. Oh my gosh, how many Mutalisks did he snipe? He only got like 1 or 2 more Mutalisks for 2 medevacs worth of Marines. Clem, his main base is very vulnerable on the production. He doesn't have any turrets here. He's going to try and come forwards. He's got that 4th command center, which he can march towards the Zerg. Keep in mind, SERRAL does not have any sort of hive on the way. Oh, the single Marine denies the 5th base on the gold. SERRAL has to just take it down the bottom. Probably send another drone to the north. Oh, burrowed banelings get caught. Okay, at least Clem knows about the burrowed banelings now. He's going to keep scanning, clearing the creep up in the middle. It's not a crazy amount of map control for SERRAL. SERRAL's not on the way to hive just yet, but Clem's going to be getting antsy, and I actually think Clem needs to be very careful in this fight. I don't think he needs to force an engagement. Look at the supply. As much map control as there was for Zerg, there's not that much creep spread. There's no hive on the way, which means Terran going now to 7 barracks. He'll add Marauders. He's got vehicle weapons upgrades. This looks good for Clem the longer this goes. Oh, hello. I did not realize those were there, guys. Those Marines on hold position right there is maybe not hold position, but just stop there. They're kind of the fallback Marines. SERRAL not watching as they do step over, misses the opportunity. SERRAL's going to go for a counterattack. Mutas and Zerglings going across the map. I love to see it. Too many players, when they play Mutas, only have a counterattack with the Mutas, and they never use the Ling Bane. If you bring the Zerglings and the Banelings, it's so much harder for Terran to deal with. Look at how fast this army is. Jumps on top, breaks through the rally point. A vicious move for SERRAL. And you can see on the map, Clem's entire army is trying to come home. Widowmine did take out a Mutalisk, got some good splash. He actually didn't kill that many workers, but I still think this is a crazy amount of damage. Infrastructure, depots, gases, massive mining time. So many Marines that went down on the rally as well. He's just going to try and attack the turret there as SERRAL. He realizes, yeah, maybe not. I don't really want to throw all these Mutalisks away. And he does want to save all of these red hit point Mutalisks if he can. Somehow only 2 of these SCVs went down. I don't even know how that's possible, but apparently it is. Widow Mines are in the middle. Got to be careful. Good splits there for SERRAL. He's got a few burrowed Zerglings in the natural he can unburrow later. A few down here also that are outside of turret range. The supply does not look that bad for Clem. And you got to realize you have more of a tail on your income. A lot of our game sense from 12 workers says, oh god, I got to be attacking his Terran. I can't let him expand. But if you look at this, SERRAL's only on 4 bases mining. He doesn't have a 5th or 6th base with any workers on it. It's similar workers. Upgrades are now slightly ahead for Terran since he has that +2 upgrade advantage. But look at this. Unburrowing Zerglings into the expansions. Mutas are going to join in the main as well. Going to go for that missile turret with the Zerglings there assisting. Lovely move there for SERRAL with the +2 Mutalisks blasting down that turret in the main. Thor on its own, Thor does not do well against Mutalisks. It needs a lot of Marines and Widow Mines as well. Clem will clean up the northern base, but his production is being breached yet again. That's going to make things really tough for the Terran. Doesn't like defending like this. He wants to be way more active on the map. But oh no! SCVs, I don't know if that was a misclick or what. A bunch of SCVs transferring underneath there, really struggling. The Widow Mines do fire much quicker now, remember, about 0.22 seconds faster from them tracking a target to them shooting their payload. But those 21 worker kills are really going to help. Clem is desperate to punish SERRAL. He's not able to. SERRAL spots it. He'll only lose an Overseer, which is perfectly fine for the Zerg, who's now got Ultra Cavern, +3 Carapace, Adrenal Glands, Flyer Carapace. So he's got all the upgrades to swap into a more generic ground army. He's got a few burrowed Zerglings peppered around the map. Some Zerglings up here, though there is a planetary on that 4th. You can see how Clem's being forced into a slightly more defensive 4th base setup. A lot of Terrans would have liked this forward 5th there, or maybe down the bottom. Oh, burrowed Banelings! Oh my gosh, that's a lot of Marine corpses. It looks like it killed at least 8 Marines, maybe even more. The Widow Mine is retargeting there. SERRAL tried to defuse it, but Clem quickly changed targets to one of the Zerglings that wasn't dragging that shot away. He sees the Hive, he knows the Ultra Cavern's just about to finish, but the Lingbane counterattacks are where it's at. SERRAL does not want to fight on Clem's terms. He wants to counterattack, he wants to bust in, and the Mutas, oh no, SERRAL not watching! SERRAL not watching, and he throws away a lot of Mutalisks. Back on the front though, the Marines there are trying to pick up into these medevacs. They will pull away. SERRAL trying to dive in on all sides. He's kind of ambushing Clem, where Clem's not quite looking and not quite ready to deal with it. And you can see SERRAL is playing a very clean game here. This is a really, really nice game for SERRAL. He's not letting Clem dictate. And now as Clem forces the push, is he ready to fight? I don't think SERRAL should be. I think SERRAL should still back away and give this base up. But he's only on 4 bases if he gives this up. And, oh, it's so awkward though. Look at that tank mine positioning. Beautiful line of tanks and mines. Now, Clem is already anticipating the counterattack. Look at this. Half of his army has gone home. He's already given up the frontal push because he knows SERRAL's being very elusive today. He's counterattacking. He's all over the place. But look, SERRAL is getting ready to ambush him. He sees the army coming back now. He's thinking about jumping on it. Instead, he splits the army. Half goes north, half goes south. The split Terran army does get ambushed by these units, but there's not enough Banelings to really overwhelm it. SERRAL just pushes him back, and then he pulls back himself. We'll need to morph more Banelings up there if he wants to go for this. Baneling tries to burrow, does get sniped before it can get the burrow complete. SERRAL's only on 4 bases. The longer this goes, the worse this looks for SERRAL in that regard, but the 4th base is only now rebuilt. So actually, Clem's income is definitely not as high as he would like either. Big army supply lead for Clem. Can he turn it into anything? It's 3-3 against 2-3. Gets an Ultralisk and a Queen that pop out. Hatchery's going to go down. Big Ling counter attack. Not going to find anything. The Widow Mines will quickly burrow. Take out a few of these Zerglings. SCVs quickly running away. That was a lovely Widow Mine. Same time, a drop goes into the main base, but it looks like it will be cleaned up. Nice defense for SERRAL. A lot going on. These guys are the fastest players in the world. Well, people would say Raynor is up there with Clem as probably the 2 fastest, but Clem is, I think, by far the quickest in the world. I mean, maybe not by far, but definitely it feels that way when you are playing against him. He is an absolute freak with the multitasking, but SERRAL knows it's much harder to react than it is to be going first, so the more he can keep him pinned on his side of the map, the more effective the Zerg army could be. Infestors have only just begun though, and without Infestors, he can't really punish Clem for balling his army up, unless Clem comes a little bit too deep, which he's not really willing to. The Ultra Bane runs forward. Clem's micro is really good though. Good pullback micro. The Banelings all go down. The Ultras trying to deal with these Ultras. And look at that. The Widow Mines do get good shots. The Ultras are heavily damaged. Mutas dancing around in the main base, finding a bit of damage. He's going to fly over it. Oh! Boom, boom, baby! Widow Mines and turrets blast those Mutalisks. And that is a devastating blow. SERRAL's bank is gone. But these Ultras still holding on for now. He needs to defend this base. This is SERRAL's 5th base and his only 5th base at that. I worry, though, that with how clumped the Clem bio is, one good fungal could ruin his day, and he's going to go for a drop here. If he doesn't spot the Infestor, and the Infestor fungals the units, they will not be able to pick back up into the medevacs, and that's why this is a very good unload. On the other side, he's going to deny yet another hatchery, it looks like. If he just targets it, he can easily kill that hatchery. But he doesn't target it, goes for an Ultralisk. He tries to move north. Here comes the fungal. He's going to drop on top of the Infestors. The mad dog that he is. Clem tries to drop on top of the Infestors, but he's got a full medevac that goes down with the fungal. Corruptors now coming in as well. Another medevac with units inside it could go down. This is a lot of units falling for Clem. Clem needs to pull back, lick his wounds, and gather his army together. He's got ghosts, but he just EMP'd a Corruptor, guys, and that is not the correct button. EMP is to deny energy from spellcasters. It is not going to do anything against units that don't have energy. 5th base is now established on the bottom, but it is an orbital command center. It means it's very vulnerable to future attacks. There are still a dozen Widow Mines spread through the middle here, which you'd love to either pull back with your army or have a fight over in the near future. Sending a few Zerglings forward. SERRAL trying to defuse these Widow Mines, but what a small army. Just a few Marauders, Mines, and Ghosts here trying to take this fight. The Widow Mines landing a few pretty good shots. The rest of the Widow Mines are mostly fired though now. A few Ghosts get caught up front. The Bio falling back. You have to watch out for the Infestors. That Infestor got F2'd into the fight. Does get taken down there. The Bio coming forwards. Clem fighting like an absolute beast. But the Infestors, if they land a Fungal, your Bio will be trapped. He's getting dangerously close. The Fungal clips only 4 Marines. Definitely not the Fungal SERRAL was looking for, but he's going to burrow one Infestor, loop around the scan. Does not want to go into that scan where he's going to be spotted. The Bio going to start to heal. Clem's on 5 base. SERRAL has his 5th base mining here, but he also has a 6th base mining up top, and that is a problem now, where Clem is going to feel a little bit more pressure to get going, but he's got to watch out for the Infestors. I'm telling you, one big Fungal from the side could ruin everything. Widowmine just killed 6 drones up the top. Very nicely done. That Infestor is still behind this army, but it's going to die very quickly to the Widowmine when it unburrows. The Marauder spread is huge. Beautiful army set up here for Clem, but watch out for that Fungal from behind. SERRAL's Infestor's too close. He needs to get some distance so it doesn't instantly die, but now it gets the distance. It pops up, lands the Fungal. More Infestors, Ultras, and the Corruptors taking down the Medivacs. The Medivacs are meant to be the way out of here, but the Medivacs are all going down. The Infestor comes forward. Another Fungal does land. More Marines come forward, but not that many Marauders. And the Ultras are chomping down. Their splash damage is absolutely crazy. The Ultras, a lot of people go, oh, Ultras are bad. You build Ultras when you want to lose. I am glad the last few years has taught people how wrong they were. You pair the Ultras with Lings, Banes, Corruptors, and Infestors, and they become the chonkiest of boys, the goodest of boys. And they just want to give hugs to the Terran army. And it's not their fault that after they hug the Terran army and show them love, the Terran army ends up in little chunks of meat, diced up, spread around the battlefield. That's not the Ultralisk's fault. He doesn't know his own strength. He's a good boy. I promise. Borrowed Zergling does get taken out. Orbital's going to float over there from the natural. This base gets ransacked. No defense. But can escape through the worker-only path. Only workers can move through those areas. Going to have to spread some bio down there. Bit of Marine Marauder Ghost. Will, of course, clean that base up. It's going to land the Orbital in order to scan these Zerglings and remove them. You can tell Clem does not have a lot of the things Terran's used to having in late game. Normally, as a Terran at this stage, you've got 6, 7, 8 Orbitals. He's only got 4. And that's where he's behind in this game. SERRAL's struggling to get any resources on these newer bases and secure them. So Clem really can still play this quite patiently. But I think in Clem's mind, he might be further behind than he thinks because of that lack of orbital command centers that he's so used to having. His main and natural are mined out, so is SERRAL's. Their third bases are pretty low as well. Zerglings come in, and yet again, that base getting ransacked. He tries to push forward. Can he get the hatchery? He can. Oh, nice Widow Mines, and he's going to try to boost away, but the Corruptors are on him. And oh no, another orbital command with no defense. Clem wide open on these bases, just not having any planetaries on these edge bases. And I think taking 2 edge bases with orbitals was a bit too much. I think he's actually, if he just took the bottom base and played a more compact style, I think he'd be in a better spot. But look at that, he's not leaving any units there. And these Zerglings are going to unburrow and just rip apart that worker line. Absolutely devastating. Bio's going to move north. We will have these guys move south. There's an Infestor behind it. You can see now SERRAL's got the army supply lead. He's never had any extra bank. But if he's ahead in army supply, that is amazing for Zerg. Remember, he's got an Infestor from behind. This Fungal could be game-ending. Not the best Fungal. Good enough, good enough. No, he catches a bunch of Ghosts, gets on top. The Medivacs do pick up and boost away with a bunch of these units at the same time. That northern base is just so barely defended. A few Marauders and Marines, not really enough to hold on. Does unburrow the Ghost Marauders, or unload, I should say, the Ghost Marauders on this side. Burrowed Zergling denying the south base at the same time. Desperately trying to hang on his Clem. He's going to get a few snipes down, and that will be 2 Ultras going down. But of course, SERRAL, he may not be maxed, but he's got more money right now coming in. A few hundred more minerals, a little bit more gas coming in per minute, but not many extra bases. SERRAL can take this base, and that's it. Resources lost 12,000 between the two. It's obviously in Clem's favor. Pretty standard for this matchup, but he's down 30 workers and his economy is so fragile behind it. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh god, the Infestor's gonna pop up. Oh, Clem saves the units at the last second. Beautiful pickup there for Clem. And look at the way he boosts forward. He was hoping to catch the Infestors there. was hoping he could catch the Infestors and then just pick up again. He does snipe that Infestor, but does lose a Ghost for it. SERRAL will lose another Infestor, though. You can see Clem is so good at punishing Infestors. It's one of his best skills. A lot of people run away from the Infestors to dodge the fungal. Clem often runs towards it and tries to focus them down before they can land their spells. But oh my lord, he's got Corruptor Ultraling Bane all over him. Widowmines take out a bunch of Banes. They damage the Overseers, but he's getting overrun right now. The Ghosts do not have enough units to fall back on. There's no planetary here. He does manage to hold on for now, and he is up 30 army supply. But SERRAL continuing to harass these bases. The supply is still so close. Clem never got to that late game Terran that we're so used to with mass orbitals. I'm loving the way Rorschach here is playing out, guys. I mean, I think this is a pretty good map for Terran. I think SERRAL's struggling because he doesn't have enough bases to take. He should probably try to take the top left corner base. Might be the best chance here against Clem. The Marauders up front quickly pick up. They boost back. The Marines and the Ghosts trying to shimmy away on this side. He's got some Marauders up north as well, and that's a huge snipe. He's going to take out the gold base. Look at that. The Zerglings cannot get there in time. Clem can pick up and run away. He's on the front as well, though. Those medevacs have got to be careful. Just keeps pulling these units back. He did lose the Marauders up north. Not able to save any of those. Still got a few Widowmines guarding this northern base as well. Just Widowmines scattered all around this map. Clem, his front base is so important. He needs another base, and I think he should just focus on the top since he's already got that mining. I almost think the bottom base is easier and better to take, but as long as he keeps denying the gold, he's kind of covering that northern base just by being up in front of it. Unfortunately for him, and luckily for SERRAL, all the drones return for another long-distance mining trip just after Clem abandons that position. And now he just sends, four Marauders and 2 medevacs. Can very quickly snipe a hatchery, kill a few drones, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Zerglings do take out a few Marauders here. It's a good trade for the Zerglings. Marauders, not that good at clearing Zerglings. You need Marines, you need Ghosts, Widowmines, these sorts of things. Units lost have 15,000 in Clem's favor, and SERRAL, he really needs a good fight. He's only got 2 Ultras. He can't really afford to rebuild many Ultras. It's mostly just Lingbane, a few Corruptors, a few Infestors, and it's all about landing that fungal. But it's been so hard to pull off because Clem is so active on the map, and he keeps scanning these burrowed Infestors that are trying to sneak in for the damage. Now, Clem will get down there and defend this mineral line. Does need to scan it, though. And indeed, he does. Very good awareness to realize those units burrowed. These Zerglings not really finding any value. Clem's kind of covering every side now, and he even squeezes another command center and a few more gases. Keep in mind, guys, a change we haven't mentioned. Gases only have 2,000 per geyser now. Back on 12 workers, it was 2,250. The gases will mine out much earlier, and we haven't seen a lot of late game. I'm really curious to see what that looks like. And who is that going to favor? I don't know if it's going to favor either side particularly. SCVs, clean a bunch of SCVs there. These SCVs trying to pull away right now. Clem, got to evacuate that expansion. Zergling's denying it. I think Clem needs to focus on just one. I don't think you can expand to both bases at once. I think just control the bottom, give up the northern side, and give yourself a bit of an easier setup to defend. There is a Liberator over here with a few mines. Corruptors could, of course, take that out, but SERRAL pushed into a bit more of a defensive stance himself. Overseer does get taken out. Liberator does get cleaned. Careful of these Widow Mines, though. Constant Ling run-bys. The Lings are cheap. Keep in mind, SERRAL's only got 69 workers, and you might think, oh, he needs to build more. Well, he does build 3 more. I actually think that might be a mistake, because how many more minerals are there really to mine? I mean, he's got, I guess these bases are pretty fresh because they keep getting sniped. The gold base still has quite a few minerals on it. Maybe 3,000. He doesn't have concussive, says chat? There's no way. Oh my god, no way! I didn't even notice! Oh, he's forgotten concussive. We're back to 2023, the year where he kept forgetting concussive 3 years ago. Oh, that's such a bummer. That hurts so much against the Lingbane. Doesn't affect Ultras, but it affects the Lingbane so much. He does get another hatchery snipe, but at the same time, his SCV is getting ransacked on that base again. This side also getting ransacked, but the SCVs do evacuate this time, which is good. He's going to pull back on the front. There is a burrowed Infestor right there. 44 workers on one base right now. These Zerglings finding excellent value. SERRAL's just going to borrow some units, but oh, he's going to catch him on the corner maybe. Careful, Clem, you got caught on the corner in game 1. And here comes the Infestors. Whoa, he misses his fungal though. SERRAL botching his fungal. Not every day that you see SERRAL botch a fungal. The Infestor comes in, another fungal gets botched. SERRAL's fungals have been whiffed. This is big opportunities missed for SERRAL. And I got to be critical, man. He should not be whiffing these SERRAL's fungals. His unburrowed fungal ambushes have been very weak recently. It's like he's throwing them too early and he's not accounting for the unburrow time. It takes a full second for that infestor to wriggle out of the ground. It's not instantaneous. It would be super unfair if it was. It's got to give it a little bit more of a chance to breathe. Does take out that infestor, the snipes, and the widow mines, taking out a bunch of these ultras. There are still zerglings down here. If Clem doesn't leave that army there, he's in trouble. I love this position, though. You can retreat around the corner, and if you chase around that corner, ultras are going to ruin your day. Mass zergling down south. He pulls into the corner, does Clem, and Clem should be fine there. He can fight in the corner. It's a lot of zerglings, but without banelings or anything to overwhelm, it's not going to work out. Clem absolutely smashing now. 20,000 resources out of the units lost, and it's getting worse with every second that goes by. But a fungal and a bunch of Corruptor Ultraling Bane could ruin his day. Oh, fungal does land on a bunch of the medevacs. A full medevac just went down. Full medevac did go down there. The other medevac's getting caught by the fungal, but there's not many Corruptors to finish them. The banelings are connecting, though. Clem did take some nasty banes, some nasty fungal on the medevacs. One medevac still had marauders inside. The burrowed banelings not quite able to pull it out. And you can see there are still zerglings there. Another big Ling Bane attack down south. Clem's been so good at abandoning that base when he needs to. He's on 5 orbitals. He denies the middle again. SERRAL just cannot get this. But SERRAL should have taken the top left a while ago. Obviously, it's easy for us to see. Oh, another full medevac goes down. Clem, canceling a hatchery is good. It's not worth losing a full medevac, my friend. It is not worth losing a full medevac. He's going to go for a marine drop on this side. Going after these drones. Oh, the medevac takes some big damage. That's going to be a shutdown drop, I think. Clem trying to focus on the front. Loses another infestor, does SERRAL. Ling's getting in the 3rd and going down to the 4th as well. Oh, Clem just wants to keep attacking, but he's not taking the time to set up any insurance. And now his gas is running out. That's a real problem. He literally puts on gas in front of this. He's got to realize how painful that is, these widow mines constantly firing. SERRAL just bleeding units out on all sides. He's staying active, though. He's staying confident. And it still feels like both players are in such fragile positions. The income now, double right now for SERRAL. But, hey, if Clem mines these 2 bases for a minute, he'll catch right back up. He will be mining more than SERRAL when he's able to, but SERRAL is just not going to let him be able to mine from those bases. Corruptors need to go after the Liberator. They will turn around, but he's only got 2 Corruptors, man. Look how slow it is to snipe even a single Lib. The middle base goes down yet again. SERRAL's gas base, I mean, it's almost out of gas as well. Almost gets caught. Fungal could catch these medevacs, maybe. Clem, he's kind of second-guessing himself. Should I go forwards? Should I go back? The Corruptors. SERRAL! Oh my god, you football hooligan with the public urination. That is a disrespectful maneuver there. Goes and pees on his assimilators. The double drop does get caught there by a fungal. That hatchery does get sniped. Hooligan behavior from SERRAL. Very classic of the finish. Famously a disrespectful people. Known for their public nuisance. Obviously, I'm kidding. Some of the most mildly well-mannered people in the world. But I do like the idea of SERRAL, I don't know, kind of trashing cars in the street, lighting them on fire, that sort of things. And whoa! It's not over! Whoa, 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 whoa! Okay, Clem just threw in the towel. Clem goes for the percent GG. That was not over by any means, guys. He did lose a bunch of ghosts. I don't think it was over. Pretty similar supply. I think it's just because he couldn't defend these bases well. He in his mind, he's so much further behind than he is, but he wasn't accounting for the fact that SERRAL's resources are running pretty low. SERRAL has this base. This base is almost out. He's down to, like, what is this? He's got 300 minerals up there. I mean, this base has just never been able to mine. There's, what is this? 900, about 1,000, maybe 2,500, 3,000 minerals there. I think Clem was actually doing okay. It's just so stressful because he never entrenched any defense in these positions. It's like, Lings are here, Lings are here, Lings are here, Lings are here, Infestors are popping up. And then, of course, he loses. He doesn't have many ghosts. His army's like mostly Marines. His gas count's really low, and he just kind of feels like, how can I deal with this army? My army's mostly Marines. I've got 1 Lib, 8 Marauders, 3 Ghosts, and 6 Mines. It was a really tough position. There were still 5 Ultras, but SERRAL was almost identical in supply. A very, very close game. This is insane. This was really, you could tell Clem was just struggling because he never got to that heavy command center count that he's used to. And I really think, if I had to point out the crucial mistake, I think he made the Maru mistake. You guys hear me talk about this every time Maru plays against SERRAL. where he tries to expand to 2 dangerous bases at once. And I think the moment you take an orbital here, this is a very dangerous base, and that's fine. But then he lifts this orbital and moves it up there. And I think there's a mistake for 2 reasons. Number one, he still had a lot of gas on one of these gas geysers. 900 gas left. You're going to see him move it in a moment. When did this happen? 20 minutes? Yeah, so he's moved that now. He left 700 gas on that gas geyser. Obviously, I get you want another base to mine from, but almost immediately it backfired with his economy taking a massive hit. And then he was basically trying to split push the middle and defend the north and defend the third. It's like he was playing as an entire Dota team on his own. It was really hard defending 3 lanes for the whole time. I can understand why he felt stressed, and I guess too many of his ghosts had bled out over the minutes of action. I think a few too many of his medevacs were getting caught by the corruptors and the fungals. Hats off to SERRAL, because SERRAL felt claustrophobic. He felt how impossible it is to hold onto this base. He somehow managed to hold onto this base for a long time, which was impressive. The gold base kept getting sniped. And unless SERRAL was able to like mine this top left base, SERRAL didn't have a long tail on his income. And the natural efficiency of Terran in a TVZ was actually catching up to him. So I think this is one of those games where it's really hard to judge. You're playing the minerals mine out at different rates. There's like less gas total on the bases. The minerals are the same, I think, in terms of overall amounts. They mine out at different races, at different paces, I should say. It's just a weird game to judge, so I think it's really hard for Clem to know exactly where he was in this game. And I guess he just bled out a few too many ghosts and found himself feeling like he didn't have enough technical units to continue. But I do think he could have played a bit slower and a little bit more careful in this game, potentially. And definitely held off this expansion for a bit longer. Obviously, you'd say, well, where do you put that command center instead? I think you just leave it there. Just focus on mining these 2 bases and pushing while keeping your defense easier. And you take this base only later. Several minutes later, when you've got enough attention to really spare, and maybe this base is mostly mined out by then. Either way, great game 2 for SERRAL. All right. Crazy game 2. Clem just playing such an intense style, but trying to expand to both sides at once, so difficult. It's so hard to do. I'm surprised he was able to withstand the constant burrow assaults, the lings popping up, popping down, infestors ambushing him. Anytime you're constantly having to react that much and move around that much, it really is very, very difficult. Now, I thought 12 depot was standard, but I guess if you're going either 13 gas or 12 gas, 12 barracks to speed up your Reaper, then 11 depot is fine. I think he's going to go 13-13. We'll keep an eye on it because his Reaper timing's been weird every game. So I really want to pay more attention to his opening. SERRAL just droning up here off a 12 Overlord. So 12 Overlord droning up. And you can see, yeah, it's 13 barracks, 13 gas. So surely he doesn't build another SCV. Otherwise, oh no, he's doing 13-14. So the reason he's speeding his barracks up like this, I would love you guys to tell me. I don't know why he's building his depot and barracks a supply early when it doesn't actually speed up his Reaper. Is it because it allows his orbital to make 1 supply earlier? Oh, that must be it. 16 pool for SERRAL, guys. So this is 16 pool into 17 hatchery, I think. But I think this is purely to get his orbital a couple seconds earlier. Because he can't build his Reaper straight away, but he wants the orbital. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we got the score wrong. Wishful thinking. Yeah, he cuts SCVs on 16 here. So 16 orbital. Okay. Normally people go 17. And also a lot of people, even if they do a Reaper opening, they pull off gas. This is so... His build's interesting. I don't know. I feel like he could be a bit more mineral focused. I could be wrong. Because I don't feel like he's really used his factory immediately when it comes up. But then again, if you don't get the factory on time, you want to go Hellion Banshee, you can't build the starport on time. So that actually does make sense. I really need to put a lot more time into studying the Terran openings. I don't know if this is optimal though. I feel like I need to benchmark the difference between this sort of opening into 3 command centers and Beyond's command center first build, because I get the feeling command center first should get way ahead. But Clem loves his Reaper. He wants to go for the Reaper that he's used to doing. Fair call. Depot goes down. We are going to see that factory in the near future. Does need to keep building SCVs, Clem. He waits until the other one is literally 0.001 of a second from finishing before he queues up the next one. Is he going to do that again? Look how close this is. Oh, that time slightly late on the SCV, but that's so funny. No minerals being tied up in the queue for Clem. He wants to put those minerals into buildings as quickly as possible. No queuing units for the greatest Terran in the world. Oh, he's going to get a drone. Oh, that spore. I can't believe there was even room for SERRAL to place that spore right next to where the drone was. Almost gets a snipe there. Even though this was a pool first build. So hats off to CLEM for finding some damage. Does regen a little bit. And we'll be able to jump out that left side. Nicely done. Second gas goes down. Ah, so he's going to play more of a directly aggressive Hellion Banshee build this time, rather than being so defensive. I do like that CLEM wants to get in SERRAL's face a bit more, but I'm not sure if Hellion Banshee is so good against 2 base. And SERRAL's been playing the same build 2 games in a row. I would not be surprised if he does 3 games in a row. SERRAL's sleeping on that weak drone, goes behind the mineral line, presents itself to the Reaper. The Reaper happy to take the kill. Oh, he might get another. This spawning pool placement making it hard for the Queen to micro. This is why I try not to block any of the gaps in my minerals with my spawning pool. I always feel like anytime I build my buildings behind my mineral line, it's more of an obstruction to my own army than it is to my opponents. Try and come up here with link speed. Can he block him? Oh, the Simp Shrine is there. The Zergling, can they block? No, they cannot. The Reaper will escape. Very nicely played there by CLEM's Hellions. Have arrived on the front and they will help protect that Reaper. Cloaked Banshee is on the way, but it's actually a fast third base this time. SERRAL's mixing it up. No 2-base muter on Eternity's Edge. No third command center just yet for CLEM, though, keep in mind. So he is quite committed to this Hellion Banshee. He would like to find some more damage. So far, he's been highly disruptive. With just a Reaper into some Hellions. But this is so interesting, guys. So it's, just to summarize the opening, it's 13 barracks, 14 gas. There is a natural delay on building your Reaper, but it allows you to build a 16 supply orbital. This seems to be the opening that CLEM has settled on. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably pretty good. As much as I think, you know, hey, mix a command center first, mix something else in. Sure, this is not a bad build order for CLEM. Zerglings going around the left side of the map. Third command center has just now started, along with a second barracks. He wants to start a third barracks soon as well. Actually poking around the front, not finding anything just yet. Spores are coming down pretty late. SERRAL's done a good job of being very greedy. Zergling's going to run in on the natural. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. Zergling's getting in there, finding damage. No one's at home. Hellions are far away. Luckily, CLEM's very quick to pull his units. He's going to lose 2 SCVs, and there's still a red air point mule that just got dropped, but it does survive. Very good defense, 2 SCVs, mining time. Still a very good trade for the Zerglings. You pull the pressure away from yourself. You get a lot of mining time, probably worth 200 minerals, as well as those 2 SCVs. He's moving over to the right side. Banshee just snagging a few drones before pulling away. There are 20 Zerglings that have been rebuilt. SERRAL is safe against this. If you dive past as CLEM, you will find out just how exposed you are. Oh, that's bad. But Zerglings take a second, and actually the Marines, plus the SCVs, should be able to hold. He's only going to lose 2 more workers. Could be worse. Still a good trade for the Zerglings, wasting that much mining time. Hellions are going to try to drive in. He can't run past. He can definitely roast the Zerglings on their own, though. Where are the Queens? Queens are a bit far out of position, and the Hellions take advantage to bait those Zerglings into a few bad engagements. And she's going to try to come back over. Queen's exposed, and hey, nice snipe. Gets a Queen. Banshee gets out of there. Where is the other Banshee, by the way, guys? Oh, we lost one. Did it fly over the spore? Not sure. Hellions getting a bit of them surrounded by the Zerglings. They've killed a lot of Zerglings, but now SERRAL gets a 4th base. I think SERRAL's doing okay. He's on 67 workers to 49. Remember, you might look at this damage and think this is great. If it was a 3 command center, this would be amazing damage. But this command center is actually delayed. It's only floating down at 7 minutes. He's down 20 workers. So there is a higher standard for damage needed when you go like this. And he's forgot his engineering base. Oh no. Oh no, he's gone his armory and then realized, wait, I haven't even made 1-1. I think CLEM's a bit thrown off, guys. I do think CLEM's feeling his confidence hit a little bit on this patch. We've seen it in the past, you know, when the balance turns against him, CLEM sometimes does get a little bit upset that his aggression's not quite working out. I don't want to tell the story of, oh, CLEM's easily tiltable and just bad when balance isn't favored for him, because it's not true. CLEM has done some of the most ridiculous comebacks we've ever seen. But it does feel like That is a huge mistake. He's still not started 1-1. He's going to commit to a 1-1, a non-1-1, sorry, a Marine Hellbat timing. Not a bad attack, but Bane Speed's already finished. It is a bad attack. It's not going to find anything. He's got to save the Marines. He does save the Marines at least. A few Banelings have to get used at the same time. Banelings roll into his third. Chadhammer's not enough on the high ground. Oh, that is huge. His 1-1 upgrades start, but they are behind the Zerg upgrades, and these are not even fast upgrades. His 1-1 started. Hive's already on the way. At the same time as 1-1 upgrades begin for Terran, there's disasters, and then there's this game for Clem. The Hellion Banshee did not find enough damage for this early game. He's forgotten his upgrades, and his Marine Hellbat timing hit so late that there was already Speedbanes ready off of 70 workers. This is not going well for Clem. Don't get me wrong, I have heard a lot of Terrans say that the balance is off in this matchup. I haven't talked to them too much since the latest hotfix. Very well could be true. Got to make these disclaimers. There's always a few very emotional people in chat where I'm like, it's probably true. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, to be fair, I mean, Clem's beaten Raynor to get to this grand finals. It can't be that bad, right? Balance in StarCraft is a fragile thing, of course. Yeah, the best players do often find ways to succeed and get to the top. That's how Clem's found his way here. SERRAL, what is he doing different to Raynor? We don't know. I'll have to go. I'm going to be casting that series as well, of course. I kind of went straight to the finals to avoid spoilers. But, see how we go. 2-2's coming in for SERRAL now. That lead on the upgrades is just going to be a killer. Because now as Terran, you're going to be trying to push fights when you're equal on upgrades, not ahead. And that fungal could be deadly. If he can trap these Marines where they can't get away, that could be a real problem. But double drop rotating around. Oh, SERRAL with the Queens! SERRAL with the Queens is shutting down the dropships. The dropships are going to go down, but he did not focus fire. SERRAL did not focus fire. He was distracted on the bottom side. The Marines there distracting him. The Banelings moving into the tank fire. Oh, SERRAL finally shoots down the drops, but not before making a bit of a mistake. Finally, SERRAL does clean it up. Banelings connect on the right side. Fungal stopping those Marines from picking up. Zerglings getting on top of the tanks. Honestly, I don't even know if they did stop him or not. A run by comes in. Chadhammer does defend from the high ground. I'm not sure if the Fungal landed, because I feel like the Banelings were already on top of those Marines when it hit. Not sure if Clem just reacted a little bit too slow. Hard to say there. But Clem, that attack getting stopped. Looks like it'll probably be the cherry on top of the cake for SERRAL, because he's got Adrenal Glands, Burrow Infestors. It's a big map. He's got decent creep coverage. Not crazy, but decent. Clem's coming forward with another Marine Mine Siege tank push. Just one tank left over from the early game. 4th Command Center, 3 more barracks are building. He's going to have to claw his way out of a tough position in this game. SERRAL running around the north side of this map. Marine drop in the south, getting ready to go in. SERRAL's army's nearby. But damage on that hatchery. Can maybe come back and finish it off later. SERRAL loses another hatchery in the middle. It's tough. SERRAL stuck on 4 bases. Clem's now got his 4th getting established. Clem has this way where he can attack you and expand at the same time. And these Widow Mines get a few decent shots. He's going to have to probably pick up and leave as the Banelings are on top. Meanwhile, on the other side, where'd the drop go? I think the Spore Crawler just shot it down. Spores and Queens both have kills on them, so definitely that drop in the south side did get taken out, and that I think is where the victory is for SERRAL. He also forces this to lift off using Burrow constantly. It's such annoyance of Clem. Meanwhile, big triple drop as well as a tank on the right side. Oh, cool army. Picks up, pulls back. Very nicely done. Ling's coming on the left side. Planetary's not ready just yet. SCVs are in trouble. Clem just cannot get this 4th base established in peace. He's really going to need to outlast SERRAL in this game. And as a guy whose main way of playing is charging into battle, bayonets fixed, and trying to overwhelm his opponent, it's not really his style to turtle up here. I also don't think it's a good map to be turtling up late game. But the momentum is just not there with 3-3 so far ahead. His 2-2's finished. 3-3's already almost halfway done for Zerg. About a third of the way complete. More than a third, even. Lib sieging up here. Queen's going to go down. Uh-oh. Multiple Queens could go down here. That could be a real problem. But the Libs will try to fly onwards. Uh-oh. Widowmine bio in the north. Good Widowmine splatter comes down. You got to watch out for these fungals. Clem attacking into a guy who he knows has active infestors all over the map is the sort of savagery that Clem is known for, but it's also, it's a double-edged sword. It can be amazing at giving you comebacks and surprising the Zerg and putting them on the defensive. It can also lead to you stepping into the clutches of a giant fungal, a set of banelings, and your whole army could disappear instantly. Does pick up, boosts off to the side, saves most of those units. Well played. There is still a burrowed set of Zerglings underneath. He does not scan for it. Just the amount of multitasking being forced here is massive. Big army on the south side. Serral's changelings see it. He's going to stim in from that side, but oh, gee willies. Oh, gee. Oh, gee. Does get out. Kind of baits the fungal, which is not too bad. Widowmine's on this side still set up. Clem attacks his own Widowmine. Clicking very quickly right now. Clem needs perfect fights. Lings on Burrow, Chadhammer, the Lib, and the Mine do clear them up almost instantly. 5 more SCVs go down though. Stuck on 4 base. That being said, Serral's only on 5. And remember, that's kind of the same thing we saw in the last game. Is Clem's so good at keeping Serral on a low base count, he will out-trade long term. He's only ahead 2,000 for now, but that will grow. But things can get really crazy. Couple Widowmine shots going off. Nothing massive. Festa comes forward. Single Marauder tries to go up. Marine Marauder goes in on the south side. See the Ling Bane rolls in. The bio's going to spread backwards and trade with those Banes because there's not many supporting units. Serral not too happy about that trade. There's a really kind of crazy pattern recognition in that situation to realize as Clem he could just spread his units out and absorb. Very rare. Oh, the Infestor gets caught. Clem just goes forward, 3 Marauders stim, but at the same time he gets caught in the bottom by Fungal Baneling. 3-3's on the way for him. His +3 attack will be done soon. Right now, he's down 2 upgrades. It's a bad time for him to be fighting, but he's Clem. He knows not how to defend. He is always on the front foot. That's where he plays his best StarCraft. He's not just going to give up map control while he waits for upgrades. And it's a fair call. He's just got to be very cautious. If Serral lands a good fungal, gets a flank of Ultraling Bane, anything like that on him, this could get out of control. This hatchery looks like it will fall. Beautiful pullbacks there. Fungal not really landing in the biggest way, but the upgrade advantage is massive, and you can see it playing out there. +3 kicks in only now after a lot of Clem's army goes down. Clem wants to get that hatchery, and he will be able to get this hatchery. But how much of a price does he pay for it? Ultras are on top. Another couple of Ultras getting blasted down. He's got to watch out. If another Infestor comes in and he gets caught up here, Clem could be in big trouble. Man, the Queens are starting to fall. Here comes the Corruptors. Here comes the Lings. Marauders are not very good against Zerglings, guys. Corruptors taking out the Medivacs as well, and that's where you get the real value in these fights. And you can see just how close the units lost is. That's terrible for Clem. Clem needs high value on these trades. He's not able to get it. He does avoid another fungal. Corruptors take out a Liberator. He started stepping back. The speed Clem plays at is utterly insane. But Serral able to hold on to the middle base. Fungal is going to land. 1 Infestor goes down. 2nd Infestor goes down. Ultras, Lings, Corruptors, Banelings, all hanging on. Massive Fungal. Widowmine lands on the Ultra. The Marauders do get taken down by the Zerglings, and at the same time, the devastating counterattack up here. Liberator not going to be able to defend those Zerglings too fast. 4 or 5 SCVs do go down. Clem down 50 supply right now, 20 of which is army supply. Serral has secured 2 bases on the front. The Fungals are just never landing. Clem is playing dodge Fungal right now. It's like dodgeball, but instead of dodging a ball, you're dodging your opponent's disgusting wad of green fungal growth that they are trying to throw onto your face. The Zerglings evict the SCVs from that northern expansion. Clem will counterattacks with a snipe on Serral's base, but remember, Serral's got this base down here as well. Does he, though? The Liberator's there. The Queens will move in and clean it up. The amount of multitasking these two force out of each other is utterly insane. Widowmine firing on a single Zergling there on screen. We've got 7 Ultras, 10 Corruptors, 12 Banelings, and 3 Infestors. Serral maintaining a pretty good army. If he could get some Infestors behind the front line, he could look for that ambush that could be game-ending, but for now, he's in more of a standard setup with just Zerglings running around the north. And the Liberator, she'll eventually defend, but she'll take a while. That's a lot of Zerglings, that's a lot of SCVs that could go down in the meantime. 4 SCVs ends up being the cost for this one. Marine Marauder mine on the left. Clem is just so outnumbered. He's got 5 bases up, but he's struggling to find an angle. Does get another hatchery snipe in the middle. The problem is now with the Corruptors out, these moves get punished more than they were before. You really need to just make sure you're not throwing units into the meat grinder, because he's barely ahead in the trading. In TVZ, you're meant to be up 10,000 by now. He's only up 3,000. And with the 5th base only now established, that's going to be really tough. Widowmine does take out the Overseer. Baneling goes and detonates manually. Clears it up. Don't need detection to tell a Baneling to blow himself up in the vicinity of a hidden unit. Bio cleaning up the spores. He's going to find another hatchery snipe. Dude, Clem is a freak. If this wasn't SERRAL, I mean, if this was, yeah, even SERRAL, sorry. If this was anyone but Clem, I would say there's no chance for the Terran a few minutes ago. But right now, Clem is kind of doing Clem things. He's continuing to attack and multitask, the things he does better than anyone else in the world. And there is always a chance in the heat of the action. Look at that, catches another infestor, forces you back. 5 bases is still established. He's building another command center. There is always the chance you just get overrun. There's 21 Marauders, 29 Marines, 9 Widow Mines, a tank, and a lib. The Banelings roll forward, Microbial Shroud going down. You do not want to fight in that Microbial Shroud as the Terran. But he says, hey, the Zerg can't connect with me. I will chase him through it. Zerglings going around the north. New army. Or actually, it's the same old drop on that bottom side. Not able to find any new hatcheries. SERRAL has both center hatcheries secure. This base got rebuilt over here. It's crazy that Clem is able to get back into these situations where he has a giant army, where he's maxed out. He's actually up 26 army supply, which is huge. Corruptor's going to come in, though. Look at that. The Liberator that was defending that base for so long goes down. So clever. Yes, a few Ultras die on the front, but SERRAL is butchering that northern base, which is such an important part of Clem's economy. Down here, 4 Ultras are still ready with an Infestor, and that Infestor is a real problem. You can see the way he drops the Fungals and then pulls back, but unfortunately doesn't chain it well enough. Does still at least take out one of the Medivacs, but 7 SCVs go down here. Clem is going to push in again. He wants to at least deny this base since he's taking losses on both of the other fronts. The Banelings, the Zerglings getting gunned down. Those Widow Mines are deep in the red. I don't think that hatchery can survive. The problem for Clem is his Marauders are so wounded, he does not want to fight with these guys for a while. They need to get back, heal up, and try to chill. This drop down here is going to try to find some damage. The Ultraling Infestor will go for a counterattack. That's an army that can kill a planetary. If he snipes this planetary while defending at home, it's going to be huge. The Marauders are still deep in Zerg territory, but they're all deep in the red. That is some absolutely tragic levels of healthcare. Clem. Oh, Clem. All the Marauders get caught out. They are 2 supply units. They are not Marines. They are very expensive. He picks up on this side. Liberator comes in. He's throwing the kitchen sink at SERRAL. SERRAL, he's getting hit by knives, cutlery. A pot hits him in the shins. He says, ow, that hurts, but he refused to buckle down. He refused to bend the knee. Clem, he's emptying the entire cutlery drawer and throwing it at his face right now. He's trying to jam SERRAL's hand into a toaster, but SERRAL does some kung fu, blocks his hand, puts Clem's hand in the toaster. And at this point, you're expecting more mistakes out of most Zergs in this situation just because of the pressure Clem's mounting. But SERRAL is just too clean. He's not letting him land those big hits. And every time he steps too deep, the fungal ambush comes. And whenever that fungal stops him from retreating, Clem takes massive losses. Lings find the northern base again. He just chases him back. Look at this unit's lost. It's only 4,000 resources apart, man. It's only 4,000 resources apart. SERRAL is simply trading too well. As long as SERRAL can maintain these bases, and this base just refuses to die anymore, especially if he gets a gold base or this base up here, it seems like SERRAL's going to go for that safer one. You desperately need more damage as Clem, but the map is vast, the distances are great, and it's really hard to push across such a big map. SERRAL, his defense is just out of this world, man. Oh, Widow Mine's firing, not getting the big juicies that he was hoping for. Corruptors will chase this drop away. He's going to try and dive on the other side. There's a few Ultras nearby. Pretty good Marauder count, though. Clem microing pretty well. First Baneling does connect, but SERRAL even splits his Banelings at the last second. Oh, look at that. The Marauders gunning down the Ultras. But the hatchery, it does go down. The Marauders dancing. The north side, the drops, one of the full drops got taken out. The other ones will escape, but there's only a few units left inside. And you can see SERRAL says, okay, you kill my hatchery, you're going to pay a big price for that. Completely hunts down the army in the north, evicts Clem from the command center, and not just that, the orbital, the orbital, the orbital! Clem taps out there, the orbital. I think he was going to save the orbital, but what else was going on, guys? If we rewind a little bit, I think he was going to save that, but I think this army was about to headbutt in and die. Did he get fungled? Because I think those SCVs were going to save it, just barely. But I think even if he saves the command center, he's in a hard spot. And I think Clem, he was fighting so hard from behind for so long, and he's like, I'm dead, man. I know I'm dead. And he was pretty damn dead. I think that's a more fair one than the previous one. It is crazy because he is Clem. He's able to drag his way on for 10 more minutes from miles behind in these games off of pure multitasking. But SERRAL's just a little bit too clean, a bit too good at like knocking away his attempts to create chaos and just keeping the game clean enough that SERRAL can build upon those advantages. And I think in that one, once the Corruptors are out, you're not meant to still drop. You're not meant to still be running around the map sniping hatcheries. Clem, he was fighting Corruptors for the last 10 minutes of this game. He kept finding success with it because he is Clem, because he is a freak. Once Corruptors are out, those drops are getting shot down. You can't just pick up and fly away. The drops are getting shot down. They are dying repeatedly. It's a really big problem for him. But what was the answer? Well, you'd normally say, well, turtle up, build planetaries, go ghosts, you know, turtle. Where's he going to do that on this map? I think this map's a bit hard because I think ideally he would probably take these two bases up top since they're in like a pretty tight pattern and then try to crawl to this base. But I think it's going to be really hard to do that while keeping this base alive. I think SERRAL's probably going to keep busting it and SERRAL's going to be able to eat up this gold base pretty much for free. And if you do focus on the north, SERRAL probably tries to take this base. If you focus on the south, he probably tries to take these two bases. Maybe it's a better plan. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a lot of late game on this map. I haven't seen a lot of like end game Ghost Turtle at all on this patch. But only time will tell. Once we see more of those games on these maps, we'll get more of a feel for which ones go which way. Oh, imagine that, guys. Waiting for hours for the lower bracket to play out, then to do the sellout segment, and then you are now here down 0-3. But I do think Clem's going onto a map that's a bit better for him. Rainfall. Bottom right side is Clem. Top left is SERRAL. This is the tourmaline of the current map pool. In that, you've got your natural, you've got your third, you've got your fourth, even more compact than tourmaline, and you've got a fifth base out front in the middle. So it's a really good 5-base setup for Terran. Now, once you get out to these edge 6th and 7th bases, those are much harder for Terran to hold on to, but they are still clearly Terran bases, and these are clearly Zerg bases, right? So unlike Tourmaline, where there's two middle bases in the corners that are very hard to contest, I would say these ones are a little bit easier for the Terran player to deny and potentially get to one in the late game if it goes that far. We'll see how it goes, though. Once again, guys, we are going to see that 13 barracks into 14 gas here from Clem, which is why he goes for that earlier depot. SERRAL. He's gone for the 12 Overlord, did an extractor trick to get to 13, built 2 more drones. You can see the extractor trick money. Oh, he did an extractor trick, actually. He did not extract a trick. Oh, did he 12 Overlord when he goes... And that's a 15 pool, is it? 15 spawning pool. Okay, nice. And sharp spawning pool timing. Wonder if SERRAL builds 6 Zerglings. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, Clem, I don't think is going to SCV scout. You can run around, avoid the Reaper, and get in there. Have a good time. Okay, barracks gas, very straightforward here. It is interesting because I feel like against hatch first, 12 barracks, 12 gas feels better than this build Clem's doing. I would rather be 1 SCV down and hit like a super sharp Reaper timing. But I think because SERRAL and a lot of these top Zergs are going 15 or 16 pool, it's this probably the safer option. And, oh, gasless. Look at this, guys. Gasless. Just 2 Zerglings, 1 Queen. Gasless start here for SERRAL. Hello? Is he really going to try and take 3 bases gasless? How in the hell is this going to work, guys? That's a crazy build order. This is a very... I guess he just builds like 5 Queens. Because you're not going to get roaches out for a long time. So I guess maybe your third is not even that quick. Maybe it's just build 4 or 5 Queens on 2 base, get your creep out, and then just take gas, take your third, just as is naturally feels like a decent timing. Cool. All right, we'll see how this plays out. Reaper is, of course, heading across the map. 2 Zerglings do avoid it. They're going to come in and run into the Marine in the SCV, try to snag that SCV on the command center. Second gas goes down again immediately. Like I said, not a big fan of the Hellion Banshee off of the 2 gas. I like 2 gas openings, but it does feel a little hard to find the damage. We'll see if Clem can just, I don't know, figure something out to get a bit of a better start, because it did feel like he was not in an amazing position in that last game. Zergling tries to target the Marine. SERRAL's going to keep these things alive for a few more seconds. Let's see the high ground. That Zergling kind of just stays there in vision, and the Reaper will hunt him down. Where you hiding, boy? Are these creep tumors? They're just weird flowers. I think they're just weird flowers. Alien flowers. SERRAL's forgotten to take his gas, guys. There we go. Does now drop it. Third hatchery starts at about 325. Drones are building. Okay, I'm so confused now, because how does this match up For Clem against Serral, like I'm thinking you've got Hellions aggression. There's no Ling speed. I think Serral will plonk down a Roach Warren. I think this is way too late to go Ling speed first. You guys know how Serral used to do those gasless builds a year ago. I mean, up until now, even on the 12 work account. Basically on the 12 work account, you do these gasless builds, you take the super delayed Ling speed, then just play it out. But no, he does go Roaches. Okay. Just going for the Roach opening. Haven't seen too many Roach builds, have we? We haven't seen too many Roach openings against Terran. Curious to see how this plays out. As long as his Spore timing's tight, I think it should be fine. He's got that 10 worker lead. With the delayed third, obviously still... Yeah, I like this. Insurance. This is the anti-Clem drone, guys. You need to have an anti-Clem drone. Even if you leave a Queen there, he'll bounce it with the Reaper Grenade and run his Hellions in. But a Reaper Grenade will not affect an Evo chamber that walls your base off, which Serral can do reactively. He does start the drone there. Drone has 200 max hit points. So you can see even there, in the red, it's still got 50 hit points, which is ridiculous. Oh, Reaper goes down. Clem with a rare mistake. Oh, no, Serral wasn't watching. He doesn't get the wall off up. He walls him in now, but he's walled in. Oh, he does almost surround one Hellion. But 5 drones going down. Nice damage. Clem here with some good multitasking. Yes, he lost a Reaper on the left, but it distracted enough to get 6 drones there. Spore Crawler does get cancelled. Third command's in it, now beginning at 5 minutes. Clem's found a little bit of disruption, but the Roach on the left side, a couple of Queens here in the middle. Where's the Spore Crawlers? They are on the way. I think he skipped one in the main though, right? Oof, Roach goes a bit too far forward. Yeah, he skipped it in the main, so greedy. But I guess with the lair almost finished, he feels fine. And indeed, he's correct. He can probably delay that. He's building it now that he's confirmed that it is indeed Cloaked Banshee. Oh, the Spore trick, the reactions here for Serral. Absolutely stellar. Now, he's only got 5 Queens, but that is enough. Oh, no cancel on the Spore. Does lose a drone and a Spore Crawler. 75 minerals, plus the drone that he won't be getting back. And the double engineering bay goes down at a much better timing. This time around for Clem, remember, that previous game, it was like Hive was starting as his 1-1 started. Don't think Serral's going to be able to start Hive with 1-1 this time around. It'd be crazy if he does. Infestation pit goes down right now. You're like, whoa! How the hell? You don't even have gases on your third, Serral. I don't think that makes sense. Like, I have to Hive Mog Clem, okay? Banshee goes down. These Hellions still rotating back and forth with the Overseer there. The Banshee will get pushed away, and Clem finds himself a bit of damage. He's down 17 workers. Now, one of the weirdest things compared to the 12 worker start is I often see Terran down 15, 20 workers on this patch, and I think, man, they're so far behind. And then a few minutes later, the supply looks like really competitive, and the tech looks pretty competitive, and I'm like, oh. So I think there's so many things that I'm like, I'm looking at these games like they're 12 workers start, but it's also the mineral difference I think really matters. I think the extra few minutes you get mining your main really helps Terran so much. I think it helps Terran and Protoss a lot compared to Zerg, but Terran especially in this matchup, like against the Zerg, it really, the extra mining time in the main before the first 4 mineral patches mine out, it really does feel like it helps Terran and Protoss so much, because Zerg's always a base ahead. Always has the earlier 4th, often the earlier 5th. That's really big. Yeah. 1-1 upgrades on the way. Ling speed. He's going to go early Baneling Nest. I think it's way too early to go Banelings just yet. And can he actually defend this right side? If Clem snipes this hatchery, that'd be big. Roaches are not the fastest units, but Clem goes for the direct combat, and nice transfuse, saves the day. Hellion drives in, gonna kill a few drones, but those Hellions do fall for just 2 workers. Good defense so far. Remember, this is a map, guys, where there are the wreckage of a lot of Terran units. This is very much the Empire... the Return of the Jedi. This is the opposite of the Empire Strikes Back. There's a lot of Return of the Jedi references around this map. You've got wreckage of all sorts of dirty Terran Imperial machinery with Ewoks partying on them. Not sure if the Ewoks and the Zerg would really get along. Infested Ewoks? Oh my god, imagine if you could build infested Ewoks in this game. I don't even know what they do. I just want them. I want zombie Ewoks. Anyways, second factory goes down out front, 4th command center there as well. I just finished watching Andor, by the way, me and my wife the other day, guys. Oh, how good is Andor? I didn't know Star Wars could make good things since like about 50 years ago when the first one came out. You know, it's been decades, many decades. That's amazing. It's really good. Such a good show. One of my favorite shows in recent history. Just across all types of shows, not just franchise stuff. Nice move here with the Marines, but the Fungals stopped him from picking up. Dude, that second Fungal was actually kind of genius because the Medivacs could not keep up with the Marines there. That was actually really smart for SERRAL. Stops him from picking up, does pick up and pulls away to the right side as well. Have you not seen Rogue One? Rogue One was all right. I don't think it was anywhere near as good as Andor. Had a really enjoyable final part of the movie. I think that the ending to Rogue One was really satisfying and like well done. I just feel like the build up to it was just okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know Andor was in it. I watched it back when it came out. It was so long ago. So I didn't even know what any of the backstory of the show was or anything great. It was great, guys. It was really great. I much prefer watching a show when I don't know where it's meant to fit in your stupid universe, you know? Like, well, I know this character's going to do this and this is going to happen because of this. Ugh. Festers are over there. Nicely done. Lingbane and Fester pulling back there. Nice hot pickup. Marines pulling to the right side, to the left side, and the right. All right, so SERRAL has made it to late game. He is simply ahead, guys. He is up 30 supply. Clem, though, he's got the Marauder production. He has concussive this time. He's not forgotten it, and he's building a 5th command center. Ghost Academy's about to go down. He's also continuing to build siege tanks, which I think is a good call. And it's really hard. For SERRAL wants to push. Clem's making it really hard for him to push. That's the hatchery. These guys are going to stem in from this side, but this means I don't think he can defend this base. He's got so many tanks, but this base on the left is easy pickings. Nothing to defend the base on the left. That's unfortunate. If this was an orbital, it would actually be better. The fact that this command center here really hurts. He's got nothing to defend it. Command center goes down. Planetary goes down. You can tell Clem did not want to give it up, but he's got no units to defend. The microbial ultras will smash through. He's going to come in from this side. Clem picks off one Baneling, picks up, tries to boost forward. Spore Crawler is going to limit his ability to dance around these ledges. We'll go to the edge of that ledge, try to hit some drones maybe from the high ground. The Zerglings are there on top of him. With the 2 Queens targeting the weak Medivac, his time in this base is limited. He goes left, there's Spores on the way out as well. He's kind of trapped in here. Same time, he's going to go for a bit of a counterattack. Clem has 8 siege tanks, 11 marauders, 27 marines, losing those command centers. He's back on 3 bases. So he's kind of been put in this position where he was way too conservative with his tank spots. And it's kind of unfortunate because he's more expecting an attack on the right side. The planetary on the left was kind of what he thought of as being a more entrenched position, which SERRAL would avoid. But SERRAL, I think just by chance, happened to pick the more exposed base. Gets himself big value, and denying 2 command centers for 1 attack like that is just such huge momentum. Marine Marauder coming forwards. Oh, a couple of Zerglings going down. Careful, pick up, get out of there. Ultra Lingbane Infest is going to go forward. Spires coming in. Remember, once the Corruptors are out, these drops are over. You can't keep doing these drops. He got away with it with scrappy, crazy Clem-style play, especially on some of the bigger maps. But number 1, SERRAL's been dealing with every game. He knows you're going to keep doing it. Number 2, it's Rainfall. It's a smaller map. It's a map where you've got to be a bit more contained in your style. There we go. 1 Ultra goes down. Ghosts are coming out. Remember, Ghosts, people were saying they would be overpowered in late game. I really don't know if they are. And I think it's kind of funny because we haven't seen a lot of Turtle late game. If we saw a Turtle late game, like we did on the previous map pool, the previous patch, maybe we would say that the Ghosts are overpowered, but it's so interesting because, like, as always, you know, people get very angry at me for not having strong opinions about the Ghost one way or the other and kind of having a let's wait and see, let's test and see what it looks like. But double the energy cost for a snipe plus 50% supply is a big cost, and that doesn't even matter right now because the Ghosts aren't even here yet. Microbial Shroud is so good when you don't have Ghosts out yet. Finally, a few snipes come in. I love the lift on the command center there. You can just see how powerful Microbial is when there's no snipes. Once you have snipes out, you're fine, because tank splash damage can deal with Lingbane, snipes can pop the ultras, but if you've got ultras with Microbial Shroud, marauders and tanks just do so much less damage to them. You need the snipes to deal with the ultras, or Microbial becomes very, very powerful. These roaches are throwaway units. SERRAL does not want to keep these anymore. They are garbage supply. He wants to replace them with much better units. He's also making Overlords. He'd like to drop Zerglings in the main base, just as a way to open up a new front. He can see Clem on Rainfall, on a map that's better for Turtle late game. Clem is actually going to play that slower late game, that Turtle style. Clem is the best in the world at this, I would argue. Well, you know, Maru doesn't really play it lately. Like, when was the last time you guys saw Maru just straight up Turtle to Super Turtle? Like, he's still probably the best at it. He just doesn't do it that much lately. Curious to see Maru playing on this new patch. Can't wait to see what he looks like. Classically, Maru was far ahead of Clem in that sort of Turtle situation, but Clem has really evolved over the last few years. His ability to Turtle is so good. Very rarely uses the Select All Army key, and I think that's the secret. You know, years ago, the difference in late game is you'd see Clem, see this drop, he'd F2 his whole army to the main, F2 his whole army to the left. Maru would never do that. Let's see how tilted Clem is, because Clem, if he's super tilted, he'll still make that mistake. He's scanning, sees the Great Aspire in the main. What he doesn't see until now is the Zergling drop coming into the base. Does he F2 his whole army? Well, no, he splits it. Splits his army immediately. Ravager's trying to bile a Sensor Tower. That's the most SERRAL move I've ever seen. Runs into Sniper Sensor Tower with bile. What a freak. The Ravagers will go down at the same time. Massive attack on the front. Blinding Clouds leading the charge. The Ultras want to steal that planetary. The Banelings are going to stop the repair. Brilliant snipe there while the Zerglings distract in the main. That is such an excellent execution of this attack. Now, Clem, he really needs to scan and repair these engineering bays. He's got building armor and high-sec auto-tracking about to kick in. He needs those upgrades, but the Burrowed Zerglings are going to finish these off, aren't they? Oh, he's forgotten about the Burrowed Zergling SERRAL. Every time, if Clem doesn't see this happening, because there's multitasking going on, he kind of forgets to scan. He's got to be doing these scans preemptively. That being said, he's on 5 orbitals, 4 more command centers building right now. Planetary here, planetary there, more and more command centers coming up. And Isaac's going to finish building armor, is also probably going to finish, and some turrets going up to stop any future waves. More tanks are building, which is excellent. Remember, guys, siege tanks are one of the best units for turtling in late game TVZ. They are very weak to broodlords. However, most players will not build broodlords. That being said, I was talking about it earlier, let's talk about it again. Ghosts are 3 supply, and they can only have 2 snipes at max energy. This is 24 snipes available, which means 12 ghosts can technically, if they all get their snipes off without dying, can kill 12 broodlords. The broodlords are more supply, they are 4 supply, but keep in mind, it's not the same as what it was with a 2 supply ghost that could cast 4 snipes, right? It's a very different equation. You need a bigger amount of supply in those ghosts if you want to rely on those for anti-air, anti-ultra, anti-spellcaster, all the things you need. And look at this attack, SERRAL sneaking in from the side. The army's out of position. Once again, that planetary is going to get busted. Nice Blinding Clouds to lead the charge. Really good micro from SERRAL. Beautiful Blinding Clouds. Snipes do take out a bunch of Ultras. 1 or 2 of the Vipers goes down as well, but the Banelings are there. Gaming Zerg has left the game. Oh my god, that's some gaming that he was doing. I guess one of the observers was lagging. One of the other language commentators, perhaps, guys. We do see Fungals going down. No crazy SCV damage. Let's take a look at the tally. 2 Ghosts died, a few tanks. 1 Viper only. It's a shame you let those Vipers escape. I think it really takes the wind out of a Zerg's sails if you get the snipes on all the Vipers. Total of 8 Ultras have died this game. Units lost have only 2,000 in favor of Clem. And SERRAL's trying to take these forward bases. He's kind of going, oh god, this is going to turn into one of these drawn out late games. He kind of realizes, got to deal with this. You can't let Clem eat up 50% of the map's resources, because long term, he's going to be more efficient. Now, I have a feeling, if I had to make a prediction right now, SERRAL already has a big bank. He might just overwhelm him. Remax, A move, overwhelm, right? With numbers, another Ling drop going in the main. He can eat some missile turret shots. Doesn't matter. These Lings and Overlords are super cheap. I predict he makes 12 Broodlords and wins the game instantly with them when the Broodlords show up, because this heavy siege tank count is going to friendly fire like crazy. But it's got to be after a lot of the Ghosts die in a fight. I think that's got to be the best timing for it. It's probably going to happen like 26 minutes. Let's say 8 minutes from now, something like that. It's going to happen around then. That's my prediction. I don't know why. I'm just feeling it. I have my spidey senses tingling. There's going to be like tons of tanks and marauders and not enough ghosts to defend it. And then the broods are going to come in and at least kill a base, if not do any more. Dude, look at that. Ghost drop to defend. How cool is that? But that means your ghosts aren't on the front lines. Double planetary. Oh, even abducts a siege tank. I forgot you can abduct siege tanks again. Welcome back, Zerg players. Vipers do their job again. Oh, the planetary gets blown up. It's a shame Clem did not repair that planetary. He does lose 2 of those planetaries, which is very expensive, but he's got more command centers come in. Marauders do deny this hatchery on the right side. SERRAL evacuates his drones, might throw another one up down here. Yeah, he's sending a Ling, so he could throw a Nidus here, and then he can just pop the drones out, mine from there, pop the drones out, mine from there. Very cute move. I do like to see CLEM knuckling down, because I've been wanting to see SERRAL versus CLEM in the late game with the new Ghost. Now, for those who don't know, the Ghost snipe is now unbreakable. You cannot interrupt the snipe except by killing the Ghost or by getting out of range. So if you're committing to a fight, you need to either get Banelings on the Ghosts, or you need to just hope they don't have enough energy. With 20 Ghosts, 60 supply of Ghosts right now, my lord, that's really hard to deal with. I think Broods would be a terrible mistake at this stage. But you know what's interesting? There's only one Infestor, one Viper. Chat says, I feel like Clem only makes tanks because he's tilted. Otherwise, he'd normally absolutely refuse. I would say it's the opposite. He's finally calmed down from his tilt, and he's making sure he doesn't die. And this secures late game. Tanks are really good for securing late game. I would say this, normally he's too cocky to build them, but he knows. He knows, man. One more game, SERRAL wins. I mean, tanks are such a no-brainer on this map. He does hate tanks because he doesn't like turtling, but in this game, he is turtling. It makes perfect sense to turtle on this map. It's much better as a map for turtling, but he does want to deny this base. Nidus Worm going up in the main. He's got no units there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He does not realize those units are there. This is scary right now. What's inside the Nidus? Zerglings. It's just Zerglings, but Zerglings will do good damage. He's not got new units pulling out. Did not replace the turrets there. Ling's getting around the base. He's already burrowing a Zergling here or there. Bunch of Ghosts will pick up, boost into that main base to deal with this. I think in a game like this, you just drop a mule here to repair. Gonna pick it up, rebuild the tech lab. If you drop mules and you drop it not on a mineral patch, they will be on auto repair these days. Small change in this patch. Ghosts come forward, couple snipes on the ultras. Gotta watch out for the fungal boy. The Infestor waddling forwards. But did not scan to clean all these Zerglings up. That is a problem. Siege Tank Planetary slowly denying this side. Every mineral SERRAL steals from here is not just 5 minerals for him, it's 5 minerals taken away from Clem. Every single trip those drones deliver is direct damage, and if he can bait Clem into some bad fights here, that could be amazing. Thing is, if SERRAL gets baited into walking in and out of tank fire and snipes the whole time, it might more than make up for the damage that he's doing by stealing the resources. And I think this is really good calm play. Some people have told me they think if you go mass Broodlord, you can still beat these Ghosts. Because the Broodlords shoot fast enough to kill the front Ghost. I get the Ghosts are back to 100 hit points, which is nice. They're not the crazy 125 hit point Ghost that was just insane. I think that's not right, though. With Broodlords being 4 supply, Ghosts being 3, and with late game Terran being able to sacrifice SCVs, he's got 11 orbitals, so he can start doing that soon. I don't think that makes any sense. I think it only makes sense for Broodlords to minimize your opponent's usefulness of like tanks and mines by making them friendly fire each other, and then go into that next step. Another good planetary snipe. Nice move. Thinking about pulling back. He's going to leave a few Lings in there. The Lings are all stuck behind each other, trying to get on top of the tanks. Do take out one of them. I like that. Just a safety scan, making sure he checks for that. SERRAL still long distance mining. He knows how important these resources are in the corners, man. And I think he will put another Nidus Worm here in the near future. More Lings and more Corruptors. So he's going to go up to 16 Corruptors, guys. There's only 3 Libs and 8 Medevacs. That seems like an overcommitment unless you're planning to play Broodlords. SERRAL seems to be purposely letting his drones die here. Happy to sack the supply to replace it with better units. He's going to hit the right side. Clem, so focused on the bottom left. There's a Nidus in his main base as well. Ultras take damage. One of them does die. Clem, very slow to clean up this main base. Really taking his time. He's only got +1 vehicle armor. I'd like to see him continue these upgrades. He realizes. +2 now on the way for his tanks. He's building another tank as well. Surprising to see him do it. Remember, guys, if SERRAL wins, it will reset the bracket. There'll be another best of 3. So Clem does have a second life. Gives him a little bit of a fallback at this point. You're down 0-3. You might want to just chill. Save your energy for the next series. I don't think he'll do that. I don't think he's the kind to give in like that. He's scanning for Broods. He's like, what? Are you going to go Broods? He's like, do I need to build some Thors and Vikings? He doesn't want to get caught on pure Ghost. He'd like to have a little bit of support because Thors or Vikings have such long-range firepower. It really complements the Ghost snipes really well. But with no actual Broodlord commitment, he feels pretty chill. He's going to go up to 14 siege tanks. Still, I think there's still a Burrowed Zergling there. So he doesn't scan, doesn't clear it. Those are just going to keep going up. Could leave a siege tank in the main. Might be a nice way to deal with it. Serral's mining more resources on the right side now. And that is one of Clem's bases, remember, guys. This is not a shared base. This is not like a 50-50 base. This is absolutely one of Clem's bases, or meant to be. Serral stealing, it's really big. But every time he chases in like this, you can see now the unit's lost tab, 11,000 in favor of Clem. He's got a 10,000 mineral bank. The gas bank, you know the gas has run out way faster now, guys. Does this hurt late game Terran or Zerg more? Might hurt late game Terran more than Zerg. We'll find out. Zerg can rely pretty heavily on Ling Bane. A pretty long time. It's not the most gas-heavy army. Oh, a couple ghosts popping out. Tanks there as well. Zergling's not doing that much to the ghost, but it was the friendly fire tank shot that almost killed him. Corruptors come in for a wee attack on the left side, but the public urination does get stopped by the ghost turret. Got turrets, libs, ghosts. Not a lot of anti-Zergling, though. The planetary on the right side will wreck these Zerglings, though. The libs do get sniped by the Corruptors. I do like the dive for SERRAL. I think the dive there throws away a bunch of cheap Zerglings, mineral units that he's got in excess of. Gets a bunch of high-value targets. I think that was not a bad trade. I mean, obviously the number keeps getting worse. And SERRAL's not really mining this base. Feels like Clem is getting to that point where there is an inevitability. And unless you can kind of catch him out and make him make a big mistake. But it is pure ghost siege tank, right? Like, it doesn't seem like that many units. The 3 supply ghosts. He's got 69 supply of ghosts. Oh, no, he just built a 24th ghost. He's building a 25th. 25 ghosts! He's got 75 supply of ghosts. It's pure tank ghost. A crazy style for Clem. I mean, what else are you going to build, though? Maybe some libs? This many corruptors? Maybe not the best idea. Oh, he even picks up. He snipes the ultra, picks up the ghosts. Command center is getting peed on, though. The corruptors will be able to remove that command center. But it's about efficiency. Losing a command center and a few SCVs does not matter. Tempo does not matter. You've got 1 billion more command centers. As long as you're trading more efficiently than the Zerg and you eventually mine the resources, there's no reason for Clem to panic here. And he should be replacing the turrets, replacing the tanks. I think a few Widow Mines would be nice, because right now he's relying on pure Ghost to deal with Zerglings. Also, remember, Ghosts got nerfed. I didn't mention it, guys. Ghost's attack got nerfed. They only do 15 damage now. So it's still flat damage versus armored and light, but it's 15 damage a shot, down from 20 before the hotfix. I just remembered that. You guys let me know if there's any other changes I forgot to mention here. So many things that have changed. 20 damage Ghost was insane, but remember, back in 12 Workers, they always did 20 damage against Zerglings. They would always 2-shot them. Now they always 3-shot Zerglings. So they are nerfed against Zerglings. Against Banelings, they're always going to 3-shot them, same as before. No, and before, yeah, because Banelings aren't light units. So against Banelings, they're exactly the same. Against Zerglings, they're worse. In this matchup, those are the only 2 things that matter. The Ghost's regular attack has been nerfed. And remember, it's 3 supply now. So you don't have as many, like the Ghosts, you've got 27 Ghosts, but that's a way bigger percentage of your army supply. The Ghost is actually nerfed in the late game in this matchup. That's something I didn't think about until now. Just its regular fighting ability, heavily nerfed. Now, is that lower gas going to affect Clem way more than SERRAL in the end game, guys? Oh, he's doing the Broodlord swap. 23 broods against 28 ghosts. He finally gets scanned. There's no Thors, no Vikings. The problem here is if you go forward to snipe, the Banes and the Infestors are going to jump on your face. You normally want some Vikings and Thors to poke and prod at the broods. There's no anti-air. He has no anti-air, guys. Ghosts come forward from the left side. Doesn't use Cloak just yet, but he does already snipe 1 Broodlord. That's 1 Broodlord, 2 Broodlords, sorry. 2 Broodlords go down. Ling's in the bottom left, though, clearing the base. Clem on mass Ghost right now. Most people would build Vikings. Most people would build Thors, not Clem. Clem has 3-3 for the Thors. He doesn't have any Viking upgrades, so understandably Thors would be the better choice. He's going to rebuild a few SCVs to mine out these bottom side bases. SERRAL, his bank is no longer bigger than Clem's. Clem, I believe, is winning this game right now, but remember the immense amount of value that is put into squads like this. He has a few ghost squads like this on the map. The amount of resources into that, the amount of supply, resources, minerals, gas, and time, and one fungal and a bunch of banelings, and it all goes bye-bye. Now, there's only 15 Banes on the map, so engineering that situation for SERRAL, going to be near impossible. But I need to mention it because there's a lot more execution in endgame than people give it credit for. We always go, no, Terran should always win, Protoss should always win, Zerg should always win, depending on what side of the equation they're on. And then they see even a rank 10 pro gamer almost always loses to the top 3 pro gamer in this situation, no matter what the matchup is. And I'll say it's not skill-based. It's the only way to protect your ego. Does get some good snipes off, but he's got to be careful, guys. Both sides have got to be careful. If the snipes come in, the oversight is really good. Okay, so guys, 14 ghosts have died for 5 broodlords. Okay, keep it. We'll look at those numbers and see how that expands or contracts for either side. Command center goes down. Lovely push for SERRAL. This is, by the way, my prediction of the game ending at 25 minutes with like a tempo broodlord swap coming in and clearing him up. Totally incorrect. I was completely wrong on that. I don't know why I had that spidey sense, but I did. I was totally wrong. Clem has turtled up very well, has withstood the avalanche, has gotten to a very good economic late game position. And now, broodlords, infestors, dancing around the map. 28 ghosts. And he's building more. I think he's building too many ghosts. So here's the thing, guys. There is a point of units, there is a density where there is no way you're going to use them effectively, and I think 20 ghosts is at that point. He's going to get a double snipe off. Nice transfuse. He chain transfuses. Dude, that's amazing. The snipes there are kind of amazing. There's a point where you get so many ghosts, all they do is clump for fungals and banelings more, right? Command center goes down. Vikings do come forward. Snipes coming in. He's not using much cloak on the ghost. He doesn't want to waste the energy. He knows how expensive that energy is. Dude, that broodlord volley does crazy damage. SERRAL bullying him. He's got this high ground here. 15,000 resources lost. Favor of Clem right now. But remember, Clem's losing a lot of gas units. And his gas bank seems to be a bit lower right now. He needs to get these gases back up mining in the corner. There's another 2,000 plus gas there. And gas is going to be the thing that runs short in this game. Oh my gosh. Dude. Look at how many, you see the ghosts all get stuck behind each other coming in like this. And he gets a few snipes off, but also the tanks are killing his own ghosts. I think he should unsiege all the tanks. Guys, there's no Ling Bane anyway. He needs to unsiege the tanks. The tanks are doing more friendly fire than anything. Clem's tanks are murdering his own ghosts right now. He's got to unsiege the tanks. There is nothing on the ground threatening for Zerg other than a few infestors. And as annoying as they are, I think EMP can deal with that. Clem, he has full scans. He's got to get off this mass siege tank. He's still building siege tanks. He's just killed so many of his own ghosts. Guys, we checked before. It was 14 ghosts. He's lost 18 ghosts for 8 broodlords since then. 18 ghosts for 8 broodlords. That is great trading for SERRAL. That's really good trading. Units lost tab has closed to now 14,000 between the two. He's attacking his own command center. Clem, shades of MMA right now. He needs to get these tanks out of this army, but now there's more Ultraling Bane Infestor. Now he needs the siege tanks. This is why Liberators are better than siege tanks, because they don't friendly fire, but they do the same job of long-range siege that can zone out the infestors. You can see the ghosts here really struggling with that tank friendly fire. The Thor did go down earlier. There's still 19 broodlords poking in and out. He wants to force Clem into this awkward Viking Thor army and then overwhelm with the Lingbane Infestor. Ghosts are sniping, but a bunch of them die to the siege tank friendly fire. The Ultraling Bane threatens forward, but it pulls back. The command center goes down. SERRAL is bullying Clem back in the late game. How fascinating is this? The siege tanks, I think, are a big mistake here for Clem. Being on tanks still this late in the game is an issue, and SERRAL has found a way to bully his opponent with really good mixed arms combat. The broodlords poke in and out, and you can see the tanks are so bloody good for SERRAL. They are massive damage dealers. Broodlings don't do that much damage. The broodlord strike only does 26 damage a shot. The broodlings themselves nibble pretty slowly. The Vikings find some good damage, but remember, they only have +1 ship weapons, so the corruptors will eat them. 3-3 corruptors with fungal catching them. That orbital's going to go down as well. The broods come forward. Here, the broods are a little bit scattered. The ghosts will land some big snipes, but their tanks are doing crazy friendly fire to their own units whenever the broodlings get on their face. Will the ghosts be able to deal with this? The broodlords are struggling. We do see those Corruptors chase down the last Vikings on the right side, and the Broodlords are pushing him back. Clem getting pushed into the corner. He's out of gas. He's out of gas. He never continued mining the gas fully in the bottom left side, and those are the most important ones. These gases here he didn't manage to get. Serral's going to take that base off him. He needs to swap into Marine production now, and that is a disaster for Clem, who's going to find himself taking massive, massive damage. Oh me, oh my. There are few remaining ghosts, not with good energy. He's killed 26 Broodlords, guys. So he did kill another 18 Broodlords, but he lost a ton more ghosts, Vikings, tanks, command centers, everything on the ground to do it. The Marines are trying to stem back. You can see the Lingbane coming in right now, overwhelming the Terran army. And he's going to pick up and pull backwards. Clem trying to hold ground, but it's just so hard against these Broodlords moving in. And with Serral stealing this last base, oh man, that forces Clem to do something about it, but he's just not able to. Funnily enough, you can see how much less damage the Broodlords do now that there's no siege tanks left. But Clem, he is going to throw in the towel, moves up the ramp, gets overwhelmed. And I don't know if I learned anything from that game. A lot of people, they go, okay, now we know Zerg late game beats Terran late game. I don't know that at all from that game. I think anyone who draws that conclusion is jumping to conclusions. I think what we know is that tanks kill their own units and Broodlords counter tanks, which is something I've been talking about for a long time. I've always said when a Terran has more than 10 siege tanks, Broodlords are always a good choice, even if it's just a few Broodlords to mix in. I haven't quite seen it like that, though, where the Terran let the siege tanks friendly fire themselves as much as they did. I think that was a crucial mistake for Clem. I think even if he abandoned the base, pulled back, kept his ghosts alive, that would have been good. But I also think he was way overcommitted to ghosts. He was on a pure ghost tank composition. I think 25 ghosts is already the absolute limit of where you want to go. But if you look at this ghost count, he was going up to about 30 ghosts. It was pure ghost siege tank. And I think that's just too much. I think as nice as the tanks are, because they're easy to use, they're good for securing bases, I think 15 tanks is kind of the absolute max. I also think it's really good to have lots of factories with tech labs. I like that he was rebuilding this tech lab, because you do want to be able to quickly build a few Thors. I think if you can get a few Thors up front with Vikings, that's going to be great. And we all know the ultimate Terran late game comp is normally ghosts, libs, hellbats, and then potentially some Thors or Vikings mixed in if your opponent's heavy on broods. The reason is, though, the libs will not friendly fire. They will stop the enemy infestors from getting in range. They work as a really good siege unit from behind. Otherwise, the fungal's going to ruin your ghost, because then they can all get caught by the banelings and the fungal, right? So libs end up being a bit better. Hellbats to help just eviscerate a few hellbats mixed in, because they one-shot the broodlings when they land. So all the broodlords shoot out, and if you have some hellbats mixed in your ghosts, they one-shot the broodlings. And the Broodlord's strike damage itself is very low DPS. It's 26 damage every couple of seconds per Broodlord. It's not a huge amount of damage. So he was still very heavy on siege tanks at this point. And yeah, perhaps could have gone into the range libs early. He has range, you know, perhaps could have gone into that. Definitely needed to unsiege his tanks, maybe give up a position, adjust his composition. And I think he had plenty of time to do that earlier. But hey, first time using the new ghosts, they're a bit more supply heavy. We've heard that they're just broken and ultras and broods are useless and dead. I think Serral's once again showing us, I've said, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm really waiting to see how Serral plays these units and whether or not he still makes them look good, what the interactions look like when you have Serral versus Maru, Serral versus Clem. And I think we learned here that there's still a lot to be learned. Anyways, that activates the next best of 3. Clem is not dead. He's got a reset. Let's hope he can mentally recharge and go into the next best of 3 with a renewed attitude. All right, guys, the final best of 3. Clem has been dragged down to the losers bracket, which means they're both losers now. Clem in the top right side, Serral in the bottom left. Some people go, Pig, you're so mean. It's the lower bracket. Don't call it a losers bracket. Mate, they've both lost now. All right, they're both losers. Nothing wrong with it. Oh, being a loser is bad. No, it's not. Losing is good. How else are you going to get better at a game if you don't, or anything in life, if you never lose at it? What, you've only ever won? It means you've never learned any hard lessons, have you? You think you're going to be truly great at something without ever losing? It's illusion. It's an illusion if you think this. Now, guys, check it out. That was Overlord on 11. So Serral is doing 11 Overlord. Is this only if he's doing pool first, or does he do this with hatch first as well? He's doing 11 Overlord. Is this more efficient than The 12 Overlord into Extractor trick that Lambo and the other Zergs have been doing? Oh no. Has SERRAL figured something? I think SERRAL is literally, I don't think he spent any time practicing for this tournament. I mean, from what I heard, him and Rainer were watching a Protoss match. They didn't even know that Protoss gateways produce faster when they're not in warp gate mode. And Harstem is so, like, Harstem didn't even correct them because they just kept going, Skillis is bad. Why is he not making warp gates? Skillis is bad. Turns out, Harstem was kind of confused. He's like, I think this is fine, guys. And then eventually he realized, like, well, you know, they do produce faster. And they're like, what? So I don't think SERRAL and Rainer literally have read the patch notes. I honestly think they just opened the game for this tournament and started playing and trying to see what buttons feel good. It's the only explanation I have. So 1 minute 37 spawning pool. That's a perfectly timed spawning, a perfectly fine spawning pool timing. Very, very similar, I think, to the 12 Overlord, 13 Extractor trick. Both are fine. So it turns out, guys, 11 Overlord. If SERRAL's doing it, the noob-friendly opening, 11 Overlord, perfectly fine. I should have just told you guys the noob-friendly opening to begin. I really thought about doing it in my beginner guide. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's probably not the most optimal. But I'm like, damn. You know, it's so easy. Just 11 Overlord, then build more drones, and then Overlord pops, build more drones. Damn it. SERRAL, simplicity. Very nicely done. Hatch gas pool, or hatch pool gas, I should say here. See the double queen pops out, or at least begins immediately. Reaper's on his way across the map. No command center first, and also no other style openings for CLEM. Like, we haven't seen 2 Rex Reaper. We haven't seen 2 barracks wall off on the natural, the Cure build, where you build a bunch of Marines, potentially, you know, snipe a bunch of Overlords, pressure across the map, really put the Zerg vision in a corner. CLEM's been very much sticking with what he knows, with a slight variation here and there. That being said, he's going double gas again this game. Feels like he kind of feels like the second gas is helping him out, but I think CLEM definitely feels like he's having to play every game from a little bit behind. Normally, there's more of a knife's edge of will SERRAL survive the first stim timing and defend his 4th base? And I think for CLEM, what's so frustrating is he feels like he's playing, and that whole window where Zerg was afraid of him, he just cannot find any real kill timing or anything even severely menacing at that stage of the game. And I think we'll see if he adjusts. Does he turtle up? Now, this is a good map for Terran, I think, right? You got 3 bases, 4 bases pretty compact, 5th up north. I mean, 6th base is going to get a bit further out, but I think the first 4 bases are in a pretty compact pattern. There's some good ledges to work with, which generally Terran's happy about. That being said, the edges of the map do stretch out a little bit, but like these bases, they're kind of hard for Zerg to defend. They're not right in the corners. And I think you want the bases to be more compact and more easily accessible as a Terran. As a Zerg, you want the bases to be more spread out into the corners further away, where Zerg's mobility disadvantage struggles. PiG, you should call it the top bracket and the power bottom bracket. Nice. Nice. Well done, Twitch chat. It's not true, Pig. If you never lose, you actually learn how to not lose. You're just good. Yes. And these people definitely exist without using cheat codes in single-player games only. Armory's on the way. Oh, Hellbat timing. Sorry, guys. He's going to be going for 4 Marines in a medevac, and Hellbat's old school, baby. I was wondering how this Hellbat timing would look on this patch. Oh, my God. It gets spotted. It gets spotted immediately. Oh, no. That's so bad. Spinecrawler goes down instantly. SERRAL was going for a lair here behind the 3rd base. He was trying to get away with some greed. But now he's got time to get that 5th queen out, to get his spine crawler up. He's going to try and micro backwards. The Ling counterattack is always the scariest thing when you do this build. CLEM needs to realize that because this got spotted, 100% he was going to go for this. But the Hellions, oh God, he's got to be careful. CLEM's so focused on the front. He's tunnel visioning. Evo Chamber wall off comes up, buys him a few seconds of time. Spine crawler not quite ready. Damn, dude, I thought that spine would have plenty of time to finish, but apparently not. SERRAL already losing a queen. Lings on the other side are still fighting at the same time. Spine crawler comes up, starts to give some hentai to those Hellbats. They are not enjoying it. They are not weebs. The queen, though, oh my gosh, he didn't transfuse the spine. Big mistake for SERRAL. SERRAL finds himself in a bit of doo-doo here. The queen, she's going to fall back in the red. The Hellbat Marine, is it enough, though? I think the Hellbats are low enough. The Zerglings can now clean this up. The Marines do get left behind there. The medevac has to pull back, and 6 SCVs go down. That is a disaster. If the Zerg realizes it's this Hellbat timing, The Ling counterattack has always been the counter, and you have to be ready for that, but Clem didn't quite clock it. He's been a long time since he played this build, probably, and he forgot about that factor. If it gets scouted, you have to be ready for the counter, either with a quick wall-off or something else. He wasn't, and that scout was tragic. So I think this is a very different situation, and this is a good build. I think this is clearly a good build. I think a lot of people look at this, they draw the wrong conclusions. If there's one thing I know from reading YouTube and Twitch chat comments, people basically mostly fall victim to a results or an outcome or results focused mindset rather than a systems focused mindset. So if you look at this and you go, this build is bad, you are completely incorrect. That was a free win against Serral's build. Perfect hard counter build order if it doesn't get scouted. Why? Serral's going fast lair behind a fast third. He doesn't have a Roach Warren or Bane Ling Nest. He didn't even build one reactively. If that Ling doesn't see what's going on, this is an entirely different game. But beautiful scouting by Serral as always. We always talk about the myth of the Serral Zergling. It's a Zergling where back in his first year dominating, he would always get in your base with a Zergling and see everything right at the moment when you didn't want him to see it. And you can see, look how quickly he saw that. We're on Serral's camera. Look how quickly he throws a spine crawler down. Within a second of him seeing that medevac, Marines loading in, he's like, whoa, there's a Hellbat timing, quick. And he grabs all his existing Zerglings. 5 Zerglings end up ruining the economy behind this and distracting him. I mean, this could have been absolutely lights out if it was not seen ahead of time. He also kills the Reaper before the push even starts. Has time to set up an Evo chamber wall off. This is huge. This is a huge win. I think the build is good, especially if Serral's being greedy. You're still hitting a 5-minute timing with 6 Hellbats, a medevac, and 4 Marines. The queen count is not that crazy high. Remember, right now, Zerg Lava is faster than it's ever been out of the hatcheries. But hatcheries are 300 minerals. Queens are 175. So the kind of thing is, if Zerg's able to just keep droning regularly and doesn't have to like rush the queens and the hatcheries up quite as fast, right? Because what are we seeing? Zergs are going a bit later thirds with a lot of their builds, fast 2 bases. They're constantly building drones. And if they're able to get that drone count up, they can kind of just get too big. And then, you know, they're just out of control. But are they more vulnerable to timings like this? I mean, he only had 5 queens ready. He didn't even have extra queens building. I guess he has a 6th one on the way, actually. It feels like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. But definitely with the build he was doing, where I think he was trying to rush... I don't know what he was trying to rush, probably Mutalisks. I think he was probably going to try and get up a Spire, get up some gases. I think Serral was trying to get away with a bit of a greedy build here. I don't know for sure. We can't tell because obviously he scouted this so early, so we didn't get to see what his normal gas timings would be. But as it is, he was trying something a little bit cheeky. This should have been a really good build to punish him. Unfortunately, falls flat. The counterattack just does so much damage, and that's going to be a GG. All right, guys, rough game there for Clem. So unfortunate, but that Zergling running in at the perfect time. If he at least raised the depots there, I don't know if that Zergling gets the info. Like, I don't think Serral gets the info if the depots go up. So, very unfortunate for Clem. But he's got to be so tilted now. And you can tell Clem's just not finding the value he normally does. He's going to go for that 11 depot opening as per usual. We do see 11 Overlord for Serral as well. Oh, Serral's workers bouncing around a little bit. He's got to be a bit careful. Keep in mind, your workers are going to want to go walkabout a lot more on the current patch. A lot of people, I was really confused. I was like, why are my drones doing this? The reason is, normally on the 12 worker start, you get to 2 workers on each mineral patch so early in the game that even if a worker gets to the mineral patch and is like, oh, you're not quite finished mining, and they check, they would go, well, there's no other mineral patches that are free. They all have dudes mining them, so I'll just wait here. But in the current thing, if your worker gets to the mineral patch and is there just a fraction of a second too early while the other worker's still mining, they go, oh, there's a free mineral patch here, and here, and here. They'll go to a random one and they'll bounce around. So that's kind of the funny little thing that is different with this 8 worker versus 12 worker start, that I'd forgotten that in the old 6 worker start, it was tough on maps with good minerals. The minerals are nice and close to your hatchery. It's kind of tough to keep your workers doubled up nicely. So we are going to see a 17 pool. So I think this was 15. Was it 15 hatchery or 16 hatchery? I think he's been going 16 hatchery, 17 pool. Solid opening here for Serral. I've been doing 15 hatchery, but I guess if you're doing 17 pool, 16 hatch, 17 pool is fine. Of course, I do a lot of drone scouting and harassing as well, so my builds are a little bit more chaotic. guys. Command center coming up here on the natural. It's going to be 18 supply command center, completely standard. He did SCV scout this game. Does not want to take chances. Unfortunately, you can't hang around and block the third because there's a good chance SERRAL just plays 2-base Mutalisk here again. 2-base Mutal looked fantastic for SERRAL. I wouldn't be, you know, annoyed if he played that again. I don't think it's a bad build order at all. Gotten away with the hatchery first for now. Of course, the Reaper is going to cause a bit of damage. He's only built 2 Zerglings for now. Does he build any more? Got up to 4 Zerglings. Is SERRAL... And he's got Lava idle right now. He's not droning. Huh? Was he literally just doing that to keep them safe? Oh, he did. He purposefully held onto his lava until closer to when the queen was out. Wow. Okay, because he doesn't want to spend money building a spore to keep them safe. That's so funny. Oh, wow. Just the little adjustments SERRAL does are so beautiful. It's already injected the natural. This queen wants to throw a creep tumor down. He wants to send both queens to the natural, but that Reaper threatening. Just going to put it here to connect the bases instead. Ooh, and Clem doing Clem things. Gets himself that snipe. Oh, he's so annoying, isn't he? He's going to go for the second gas. No more 3cc in this series. Ah, such a bummer that Hellbat timing didn't work. I really think that Hellbat timing. That Zergling doesn't get in there right then. It feels like that should disrupt SERRAL's rhythm and bounce this series back. Remember, guys, these guys played a similar circumstance in Maestros. Last year, Maestros won in Paris. SERRAL won, I think it was 4-2 in the finals. And then the bracket reset happened, but Clem came out and just swiftly dispatched him with some timing attacks and got the 2-0 despite losing the first series. But that was not as dominant in the first series as this one's been. I mean, 4-0 SERRAL versus Clem. When was the last time we saw that? And you know what's really funny as well, guys? Because balance is... Oh, hold on. Reaper goes down. Oh, Hellions are going to dart in. Zergling's going to try and dance around. Hellions running forwards and back. Balance is so hard to judge because it's so subjective and we're always comparing to the most recent state of relative balance. So it's always like this patch right now, this clearly looks a bit better for Zerg than Terran, right? But was it better for Terran than Zerg before? And this is like the thing I've always said is like, you know, the guys who claim SERRAL's not the GOAT and it's Maru? I've always said those guys' best argument is basically, there's a subset of guys I see on the forums who are like, well, Terran's just harder and has always been the weaker race. And I'm like, if you guys actually want to believe Maru's the GOAT and not SERRAL, that is your best argument. Your best argument is if you truly believe that basically Terran's always had the short straw in terms of balance, and it's just been way harder for Maru to achieve results than SERRAL, then you can actually, yeah, like I'm like, okay, that sounds like a valid viewpoint for you to hold. If that, then that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I also don't like, I feel like it's like such a hard thing to even debate. You're just kind of like, I don't know, I feel like we're just talking about our feelings right now, man. There's some stats nerd out there who's like, no, I have figures. Banshee going in towards the main. Hellions rotating around. Feels like he's kept the pressure up. SERRAL's third, not really mining much yet, but it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. The spores are finishing right at the correct time. There's 6 queens out, a pack of Zerglings on this right side. Hellions darting in and out. Banshee rotating around, looking for more damage. Oh, Overseer's here. They're only going to get a few workers. I mean, he sees just a perfectly timed response. Carapace is already on the way. SERRAL didn't have the money for melee. He needs to start that one as well. I'd be worried about him remembering this, but of course this is SERRAL, and he will check it very soon. Of course, Clem's activity, keeping him busy though, is delaying it just by keeping SERRAL distracted. I wouldn't count on that for very long. SERRAL's very methodical about checking upgrades. Feels like he's kind of built into his play double checking those upgrade timings, and there we go. Yeah, very little delay considering the pressure he was under. Hellions are getting the Zerglings on top of them. 2 Hellions go down, but a few Zerglings fall. Banshee's damaged a little bit, but not really gone down. Third command center's up. Double upgrades do start for Terran, and he's going to be about, I think that's about 35, maybe closer to 40, just over 40 seconds behind the Carapace of Zerg. So SERRAL's going to have a really nice upgrade lead on the Carapace. Hellions damaging this. Banshee sneaking in the right side. Could grab a few drones and get out. This right side mineral patch very exposed, but Spore Crawler does so much damage, doesn't it? Oh, good micro. Good micro on the Queen by SERRAL. Pushes the Banshees away. Yeah, he loses 3 drones, but look at the units lost tab. 2 aliens and a Reaper. You've only killed 6 drones, a couple Zerglings. It does feel like SERRAL gets to 4 base, largely unmolested. He's in a pretty good spot. That being said, his creep spread is nowhere near what it used to be. And this is actually another thing that I haven't even talked about much in this series that I'm thinking about. The creep is slower to spread now, right, guys? I'm not imagining this, yeah? There's so many changes, so many mods I've played in recent months. I'm pretty sure they slowed down creep spread, but also slowed down the rate at which it recedes. It feels like that combined with Queens being more expensive, Zerg does have less dominant map control. And even if they get ahead on this supply, they're not in that position where creep's halfway across the map and exploding like crazy. Chat confirms you're not imagining it. It is slowed down. Look at this tank push. Oh, already got a tank here. SERRAL does not have Bane speed just yet, but it's about to kick in. He does not want to give up this base. There are Hellions guarding over on that right side. Queen's taking damage. Transfuses just in time. Bane speed is in. And I think it's go time. I think SERRAL has to defend this right now. His Lings coming in from that top right. If they can get on top of the tank, that'll be massive. Do the Lings get on top of the tank? Yeah, beautiful split on the Lings. Some get on top of the Hellions. They chase them away. Some get on top of the tank. And the double drop does save the units. I mean, you don't lose too many units as CLEM, but a really clutch hold for SERRAL. If he loses this 4th, his other base, his 5th in the bottom right, is very far away. Hard to defend that. Bit of an awkward one. This Banshee's floating around the middle, looking for more damage, not finding it just yet. Really important to start 2-2 immediately, because +2 carapace is already on the way, guys. He's already 45 seconds complete on that. Okay. Picking up, dropping forwards. 4th Command Center has started. A bunch more reactors building, as CLEM, of course, goes up to 5 barracks. He's got the 2nd factory building, 4th Command Center. More drops moving forward. He's going to join these. Oh, he's going to go for a big attempted snipe, maybe. Queens do take down one of the Banshees. He could try to drop the main, and then when the units pull back, stim in on this hatchery. The hatchery is so wounded, 700 hit points. Oh, CLEM is hoping that SERRAL just gets slightly out of position. He can just snipe the hatchery. There's no way. The Banes are close by, really tight defense, and the Infestors are here. Gonna pick up, boost towards the main base. Could unload on these Zerglings. Zerglings will take out a few of them. All right, he picks up, drops again. Yeah, about 5 or 6 Marines will go down very quickly, and then he does pick up and pull away as the Spore Crawler's coming in. Banshee on the right side will go down as well. SERRAL cleaning up all the problems on this map, and CLEM feels like he's on an uphill battle right now. Down 25 supply here going into this early late game stage, and even with the lack of creep spread, which I think is a bit more uncharacteristic for the European Zergs who really focus on that creep. This is very common for a guy like Solar, for instance, and generally when you're playing CLEM, it's not uncommon for him to have your creep contained like this. The fact is, you've got Infestors, Burrow, +2 carapace. These drops are so dangerous with Fungal available. Any missteps for him, and he will get punished. You know, CLEM was thinking about dropping Marines on the Infestor for a second there. Dancing around, looking for damage. Well, these Overlords are really good. By the way, guys, you can drop tanks on these ledges and utilize them all around this map. CLEM has not used them yet. I'd love to see him use them. There are some in the middle of the map as well. They're not quite in range of these first 5 bases of Zerg. They'll be more useful later on in the game if we go to late game. Picks up some units there, pulls away. Very nice micro here. SERRAL's got to watch out. There is a Widow Mine right there. CLEM's going to try and bait him into it. And gets a decent little shot. Picks up the Marines at the last second, but the tank does go down. You can also put Lurkers on those ledges. I was going to put Lurkers on those ledges in our Big Brain Bouts match against Demu a month or 2 ago. Didn't quite manage to get there because he went Battle Mech on this map, guys. We still haven't seen a pro do it in a pro tournament. I was sad I couldn't do it in a show match. SCV's pulling back. Lingbane from both sides. Dude, is he just going to roll him? Oh, no, 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 no. The Banelings. Okay, they do pull back. They're not going to get the SCVs. The Marines come back. A Fungal lands. The Infestor goes down. Baneling does connect somewhat. The Zerglings, I think there's just enough Marines with so many medevacs to hold on there. CLEM, though, is way down in supply. He loses 9 workers. There are Zerglings that have forced his 4th to lift, and SERRAL is just swarming over CLEM. You can see the confidence just growing here. And CLEM feeling like he's playing from behind this whole series long, struggling on this new patch against SERRAL. SERRAL with such smooth openings, such powerful advantages from the early game, and so many cute little details. I mean, the delay on building the drones on the natural until after the Queen was a bit closer to being built. Just cute little things like that, little details. SERRAL has already added in. Widow Mine drops, an excellent idea. When you're behind, Widow Mine drops are one of the best ways to get back in the game. That's way too many medevacs on the front. He sees the Ultras. He sees the 2-2. His own 2-2 finally about to kick in. You can just see how much Lingbane Ultras coming across. CLEM cannot hold on. And he goes out with a whimper rather than a bang. A 6-0. What a stark contrast that is to the Clem versus Rainer match. Even then, a lot of those games were shockingly competitive in terms of how close they were. Because it definitely felt like a lot of these games, Clem was going into the later stages a bit behind. I really wonder, people out there, is Zerg just broken now? That being said, is Clem's build order good as well? Because I think the one thing I really want to ask, and I'm going to be looking through the other Terran's replays, are people playing Command Center first more? Beyond's played a lot of Command Center first, and I feel like it's put him in much more competitive positions in his games against Solar than what I saw with Clem against SERRAL going into the late game. People can say, oh, Solar's no SERRAL, but they are very closely, like close level in ZVT, SERRAL and Solar. SERRAL is better, more consistent, and also has a lot more variety, I would say. Solar's a bit more predictable is his bigger weakness. But I do think this opening, I'm not sure if I like it. I really wonder if Clem could optimize his opening a little bit more, because it doesn't feel like the Reaper's achieving so much. It does feel like Zerg's happier to delay their third. You're not able to like hang around with the SCV and the Reaper denying the third and really disrupting the opening. And it does feel like even though the Reaper still forces a bit of a response with Zerglings and delaying some drones, is it worth taking a gas this early? The fact that we are almost 3 minutes and we're still only at 12 or 13 workers on minerals, it feels like Clem is giving up so much mining in the early game. And for me, this feels wrong in terms of the opening. So it's not so much whether or not he goes second gas for more pressure or not. It's more that it just takes so long to finish saturating the main. Whereas if you do this style of build order on 12 workers, your main base is fully mining a fair bit earlier. Now, obviously, if you don't play a Reaper opening, you maybe have to go Hellions early to get some damage. You don't have the Reaper regenerating, giving you that recyclable pressure. Zerg's going to be getting away with immediate greed a little bit more, but I mean, you can still go Hellions off of that. You can delay the gas a little bit, Command Center first, and get the Hellions out not too much later than this, right? I feel like it's not that delayed if you skip the Reaper, and then you can go like Command Center, Barracks, gas, and get the factory up pretty quick. I'm not sure. I really need to study those builds. I hope we can see more Maru games as well. But to me, it felt like Clem had two openings he showed us in this series. Both were off the exact same 13 Barracks, 14 gas. Barracks doesn't do anything for a few seconds, makes the early orbital, goes into Reaper opening. And then there was an option where he went 3 Command Center very early. His Hellions weren't building for a long time, gave SERRAL a bit too much room. And then instead he swapped to the second gas, more continual Hellion production, diving in, Banshees, looking for damage, and then adding the third Command Center at about 5 minutes, I think it goes down. Memory serves. Yeah, just before 5 minutes is when that was consistently going down. So yeah, I mean, it's not a bad build. It's clearly not like, this is not trash. Oh my god, Clem's build is the worst. He's so bad. But definitely SERRAL felt like he was getting ahead. And once we were getting to this 3 to 4 base stage, there were some games where it was more competitive than others. There was quite a few games where it felt like SERRAL, if he was able to defend this first big, like this sort of pressure timing, which was so deadly on earlier patches, seemed to fall flat on this in this finals. Like, I think this he was trying to still commit to these kind of familiar sort of marine tank or marine hellbat timings. I think it was on Eternity's Edge in the first series where he did this marine hellbat push, but I think he'd forgot his upgrades behind it, and it just felt so late. Like, Bane speed was already ready. It felt like these timings were not going well for him whatsoever with his builds. I think there's so much for me to digest and think about here. As always, I'm not one to jump to conclusions. I'd say first impressions, Zerg's looking pretty good on this patch, but SERRAL's going to SERRAL. And I hope Clem experiments a bit more. I really hope to watch some more Terrans as well. I think there's this big problem that happens where I cast so many Clem's games because he's in the semis and the finals. And he's just one guy, and he's one guy who's very mechanical, but he's never really had, in my opinion, the creativity of like a TY or a Gumiho, or one of these guys who's a real weird tinkerer of build orders. Like, I always think Beyond and Maru, as clever as they are, I think they would always draw a lot from your TYs. Kua, I really am curious to see what Kua does, because Kua plays his own style 100%, and we'll see exactly how this plays out. I do think there's this weird bonus where the main base mining out slower does help Terran and Protoss more, but it doesn't kick in until 8.5 to 11.5 minutes. you get a booster's Terran compared to pre-patch with the way the minerals are. That's something that, so there's this point where often Terran was feeling behind at this point, but I think if we don't take too many losing trades, being able to keep mining in that main a bit longer is really quite nice, because those mineral patches do last a bit longer. Does it make up for, obviously, this position? No. In this game, SERRAL had out-traded him, crushed his attack, got back to droning, has high finished, 85 workers. I mean, this is a disgusting lead for SERRAL in this game. I think there's a lot of details you can look at in this one specifically, but so many questions about the Terran build orders, the TVZ build orders, and what the focus should be for both sides. I also love that we got to see a late game in this series, but Ghosts versus Broodlords, I don't think Clem played it optimally with the Mass Ghost Siege Tank. Really curious to see a few more runbacks of that sort of situation where he has some Hellbats mixed in to clear the Broodlings, unsieges his tanks or trades them out, swaps them for libs, and plays that style very differently. Because it does feel like the siege tanks did a lot of friendly fire and did a lot of work for SERRAL in that game. So I'd love to see that one get ran back. Anyways, great finals for SERRAL. Great result for him, getting the 6-0, working his way through the losers bracket, guys. But GG, well played. And very glad that Home Story Cup were brave enough to take the advice of the players, play this on the live patch to get more games and more feedback. We're going to be casting a lot more of these games, highlight matches from throughout the tournament over the coming days, trying to analyze, digest, and take a look at this new patch and kind of understand where the timings move to, what's better, what's worse, and what we as players should be focusing on from each angle of each matchup. Catch you guys next time. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. Big thanks to everyone who's supporting there. Peden and Dragosar, Oko HR, conductors of the D-Town Express, as well as everyone else here. If you guys want to support, links down below in the description. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.